Today's outfit, I wanted to do like a mom look. So let me know if you think I succeeded. I tried to pick out like my most mom. I've got a little poncho, is that what this is called? With my big gaudy mom jewelry and some like pearl earrings. That's kind of the vibe I was going for. Hello, 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 and welcome to your reading today. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Addison Taylor. This is my channel, my home, where I provide my clients and my subscribers with tarot pick-a card readings from Spirit, messages that help to empower you, help you get to understand and know yourself better, provide healing, closure, insight into the future, all of those lovely things. So if you're interested in joining our little friendship group over here, then I would love it if you subscribed. And of course, if you're one of my subscribers, you know how much I love you, my lovely, I always send you guys kisses. So welcome back for another reading. Now, today's reading is connected to last week's reading. So if you aren't aware, last week I did a pick a card reading that was a message from your father's higher self coming through to provide you with a message. So I thought, how can I do a message from the father and not do a message from mom? So today's reading is going to be a message from your mother's higher self more specifically. And this message will hopefully give you some insight into, kind of maybe in what ways your mom is proud of you, what she loves about you, maybe some insight into how she feels about the past, maybe regrets that she has or thoughts she has on moving forward. And this will apply to all moms, so it doesn't matter if your mom is living or if she has passed away. It doesn't matter if you're very close with your mom or if there's some sort of physical or emotional distance there. This will be for any mom can come through. So, and I again wanted to be very specific as always. So I have 8 piles. I usually do 6, but I was called to do 8 piles for today's reading so that everyone's mom could come through and give a very detailed and specific, not a real broad message, but something more concrete and specific for you. So don't forget, before you go to your pile and select your pile, try and cleanse yourself a little bit, calm yourself, and make sure that you're not choosing a pile because you think it's pretty, that you're really choosing the pile because you know that's where your mom's message is. So maybe even kind of think out loud or to yourself like, okay, mom, which pile has got you in there? Which pile is yours? And so here in just a bit, I will flash a picture of the piles. I always have timestamps below. Before I do that, I just want to remind everyone that I am still offering personal video readings, 30 minutes to 1 hour in length on my Etsy shop. The link is down in the bio. And then I always have my sister's Etsy shop down there as well. She makes earrings herself. Like, she gets the clay and she molds it. It's crazy. And on most of my videos, I'm wearing the moon earrings that she made for me. And okay, so enough chit chat from me. I'm always having to quiet myself when I go too long. Let's get to your pile selection, and then I will meet you over at your pile. All right, group number 1, you all chose the lovely hyacinth flower. And the message down here at the bottom says playfulness. The quote says, "Play is the royal road to childhood, happiness, and adult brilliance." That's by Joseph Chilton Pierce. Let me try and move my hair out of the way. So perhaps your mother has a very playful energy, or perhaps she's commenting on your very playful energy. We'll see how that card ties in as we go into the rest of the tarot and the oracle, but I want to start with my astrological die, as I always do, to get an overall energy feel for the reading. Okay, we have Mars in the 11th house in Sagittarius. So you all could be Sagittarians, or perhaps your mother is, but you don't have to be. But okay, so Mars and Sagittarius in the 11th. So the 11th house is about our friendship circles and our friendship groups, like the larger community we're a part of. It could also be like our online community, like how I feel about my subscribers and putting yourself out online, because that is such a large community and there's so many opportunities for connection through large groups of people. The 11th house is also like our rewards, and our biggest kind of hopes and wishes, and what we want to receive due to our achievements. And Mars is a very like active, it's a very masculine energy about like just getting things done, being that soldier in your life and kind of fighting for what you want to accomplish and do and pioneer in the world. And Sagittarius, that's the energy of foreign travel, foreign languages, world travel. It's also the energy of kind of like the spiritual teacher, as well as college, bachelor's and master's degrees, like our higher learning. So all of these topics could be things that mom wants to touch on today through her message to you. Now, let me get the cards laid out. I'm going to start with the tarot, and I will show you the cards. All right. So we have Queen of Swords, King of Pentacles. So this is air energy. So mom or you could be a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. You don't have to be. And this King of Pentacles is earth energy. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Now we have the Hermit card. That's a Virgo energy. So perhaps this King of Pentacles that your mom wants to talk about is a Virgo. And then we have Four of Swords, which is about rest and recuperation and like a time of solitude, maybe after heartache or after just being like exposed to too many people and too much energy, like where you just need to retreat and go into your alone time, which is interesting because the Hermit card is kind of about the same thing. It's about soul searching through solitude, it's about being single as well, like just really needing to detach from the world and focus on your own inner soul searching and your inner work. So I feel like there's a message here coming through from mom about her marriage. So for some of you, your parents were divorced and maybe mom was this air energy and dad was this pentacle energy, and your mom is, I don't know why she wants to touch on this, but she's wanting to talk about her marriage and who she was in her marriage to your father, or it may not have been marriage. It may have just been the relationship that she had with your biological father, and that she, I don't know, it feels like she's wanting understanding. She wants to convey to you that at a certain period of her life, in her younger years as a mom, there was a point where she needed alone time and she needed to break away. Like the energy from everyone and everything around her became almost unbearable to deal with. So she went through something that was difficult, and I feel like it was when you were younger. And she said that she felt guilty for that period of her life for a long time, and always hoped that when you grew up and got older and maybe became a parent yourself, you would she would be able to open up and talk to you about, this is why I handle things the way that I did, and I just hope you understand. She really carries a lot of guilt for this, but she wants you to know that her need to like kind of detach or step away or go into her own little world had nothing to do with you or her love for you or not for you. She loved you immensely. It's like she was dealing with some spiritual growth in her life that kind of took over everything. It really felt outside of her control. So that might be what this Sagittarius 11th house kind of energy is on the die that's coming through. There may have been something that happened that put her at a distance to you. Maybe she had to actually move. Maybe she was a stay-at-home mom and had to actually go back to work and into the corporate world, and that took a lot of time away from you. Maybe the divorce, maybe you decided to live full-time with dad, or, there's so many ways that it could have played out, but there was a point in her life where she had to distance herself, but not just from you. She's really wanting to point out, like, it's not you. I had to go into my own little world from everyone for a while, and I'm filled with guilt over it. But she also, your mom's higher self, also still doesn't understand how things could have played out differently. To her, it felt like God had just put this spiritual lesson upon her, and she didn't have any other option but to, deal with it. And And she may have had a lot of anger during that period, or like a short temper, or just, yeah, not, it might have not, she may have been so stressed during this period, or she's saying that she didn't have a lot of, she couldn't put a lot of attention on you in the way that she wishes she could have. And her fuse may have been a little bit short because she was just overwhelmed and really needing to, like, she really felt like she needed to run away from the world for a while, you know, like go to some retreat on the mountains and just meditate for a whole year. That's what she's saying, from just everything she was dealing with in that particular moment. So that's the main message that wants to come through for now. We'll get into the other cards. Mom really just wants to say, you know, I'm hoping that as you get older and older and older, there will be maybe more of an understanding for me and my humanness, and the amount of guilt, you know, that you feel when you have kids. And as a mom, you feel so much guilt for any little thing that you look back on and you think, oh, I didn't get that just right. I didn't get that just right. I didn't get that just right. And just a lot of guilt. But she also wants to point out to me that you've always been so gracious. You've never come at her with anger or, you know, like trying to point out her mistakes. And she is so, not grateful, but appreciative. You know, she really can't believe that you never really did that with her, because she feels that she deserved it on some level. But she also knows, she wants to also acknowledge that there's been kind of like a wall put up about this situation where neither of you have really opened up and gotten vulnerable and talked about it. So that's what she wanted to do here today for you, okay? Let's look at the other cards and see how she wants to expand on this message. Okay, so the first card is this one. There's not names on these, but it looks like a woman who's kind of, she's got like the life ring problem solving kit. She's kind of like a handy woman or a handyman doing it all. And then we have the clown that's making the crowd laugh, putting on a show. So with these two cards, I feel like this is your energy. This is that playfulness. Remember the hyacinth? We had the playfulness card. That's you. So she's just telling me, like, I just love the way that my child really allows things to roll off of her back. But she's also saying, I do wish that she would open up more and get a little bit more in touch with her emotions and maybe the things that have hurt her. I think that'd be good. But I also just love that she's not the type of person that if someone does something wrong to her, she'll wallow in it or allow that to bring her down. She really lets things, she or he, you could be a man, lets things roll off of their back and has this really fun, joyful, playful energy. And she's also saying, you know, when you were young, you were her little kind of ray of sunshine. Maybe that's a term that she would refer to you as, but just joyful and playful and lighthearted. And also someone who she wants to acknowledge that you've also been really, really great at, you know, pinpointing other people's issues and problems and stepping in to solve those. So perhaps you're the oldest child, or you don't have to be, maybe the middle child. And yeah, your mom just really loves how, as you've gotten older and older, you've always been, like, everyone in the family, she says, views you as the person that if they need help, if they need to organize something, if they need advice, you know, go to you, because you're the one that's going to really help and offer some really good objective advice. Yeah, she's saying right now, she says, my child, I admire so much in her that she doesn't get affected and overwhelmed by other people's energies, okay? Because that's a fault that your mom feels that she had. It's what led to this period of her life where she just felt like she needed to be completely away from everyone. She's saying, like, I have a really hard time being affected by others' energies, other people's energies. I pick up on them and it can be real strong and overwhelming for me, and that's why I can sometimes come across as maybe a bit awkward or shy or seem like I'm antisocial. She still doesn't quite know how to handle or deal with that. It's something she's learning. But she looks at you and is just in awe, because you can be in really dark situations with people that are going through some really negative stuff, and you're able to give advice and step in and help and not let it somehow affect your energy, you know, and weigh you down. And she just really admires that about you. And she's also so relieved and so glad that you won't have to go through what she's had to go through in dealing, kind of figuring out how to manage and deal with the overwhelming energy of other people. So yeah, she loves your playfulness. Okay, from the archetype deck, we have the Lover, ooh, and the Femme Fatale. Ooh, my goodness. Okay, so your mom is wanting to acknowledge how attractive you are and how you're very open with your affections for people. So it's like positive, any sort of emotion or way of expressing yourself that you know is going to make people feel good around you. That's the type of emotion and self-expression you're really, really comfortable with. You're not so much comfortable with kind of, anger or sadness or expressing, like getting in touch with those sort of darker, hurtful, energies and emotions. But you have this very playful, lighthearted, how can I make people feel good sort of thing about you, and that plays into your attractiveness. Your mom thinks that your mom's even saying, like, I've always been kind of a vain person. I'm not going to kind of hide that, even in my higher self, is what she's saying. And my child is so attractive, so beautiful. And what they don't even realize, I'm speaking as through her, is that more than half of that attractiveness that people find in you isn't from like just your physical appearance. It's from the way you make people feel. That's very attractive to people. She says you're even a bit flirty. You really enjoy flirting with people because you know it makes people feel good to be flirted with. And she just loves that about you. She keeps saying, like, what I love about my child is they don't take anything too seriously. Whereas me, I get real caught up in overthinking every little thing that I do or say with people. Your mom's saying she's the opposite of a flirt. She's like, I don't even know where my kid got that from, because that's so not me, and it's so not even her, his or her dad. Apparently both your parents were very non-flirty people, but you have this very flirty energy, and your mom just is like, my kid is just absolutely beautiful. And I feel like the only reason she would be coming through and saying that to me in a reading is because it's not something that she expresses to you on her own. I mean, she does seem like more of a shy, reserved person, but so she wants to tell you in today's reading that she thinks you were unbelievably gorgeous, beautiful, attractive, handsome, like whatever it is. And she says, I don't point that out. I feel like I don't point that out enough to my kid, and I want them to know that. So, okay, let's look at our last two cards. We have the half to full moon card, which is interesting because then we also have the waxing moon card, which is the same thing. It's the half to full moon. So the bottom of this card says, embracing high levels of motivation and energy will bring feelings of empowerment and satisfaction. And on this card, it says the energy is gaining momentum. So there's something you've been talking about with your mom or with other people. For most of you, I'm going to say it's with your mom. For most of you, I feel like your mom is in your life in some sort of capacity, okay? If that's not the case, if mom's passed on, or if mom was really never in your life, then this is something you think about a lot, okay, that she's aware of. There's something you've been wanting to do for years that has just, it keeps getting put off, whether that be go back to college or start that business or go on that trip, whatever it is. Your mom's like, she's been talking about doing it for so long, and I want her to know, him or her, sorry, I would say she, that I believe in them and that they can accomplish this. Because for some reason she feels like the only reason you've put this off is because you have some doubt within yourself about being able to do this and succeed. And that doubt is so scary to you that you have kind of just put it off and put it off. So your mom's higher self is acknowledging that a lot of that doubt is due to the fact that me, mom, and even your father, we're not really people with words. We don't express enough how proud we are, how much we believe in your abilities. And she's saying that's our fault. I wish I was able to do that more. But so she's wanting to come through in this reading to say, I believe in this idea of yours. I believe in this thing that you want to do. And I know that there's no reason for you to doubt yourself. And I want to give you my support and my encouragement through this reading to accomplish it, to go for it. And that's what that 11th house is, The 11th house is about our highest hopes and wishes and dreams, the rewards we want to receive from our achievements. And what your mom is saying also is, don't live your life like I do. Don't live your life so fearful of regret that you just don't make a move. You don't make a move anymore. You just keep things as calm and as the same as possible, because She says, that's what I do. I live in fear of regret, and I'm scared to move a lot of the time. I'm scared to do anything. She doesn't want to see you live your life that way. She wants you to believe in yourself like she does. She does, but she's also acknowledging, I don't express it. I'm so scared of expressing myself, I don't express it. So let me know down below in the comments what this business or this idea, what this idea is, what it's related to. But I want to thank your mom so much for coming through for today's reading. What a gracious energy she has about her. And yeah, I just want to thank you for allowing me to convey this message between the two of you. It was so beautiful. And I look forward to seeing you in next week's reading. If you have any pick a card ideas that you would like me to cover, leave that in the comment section down below. And okay, I will see you next time. I love you. Hi, group number 2. Welcome to your reading. Go ahead and have a seat and get comfortable. Let's see what your mom wants to say to you. So you chose the lovely Iris, just beautiful. And on the card it says rainbows and messages. And the quote says, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. So I feel like your mom is trying to give you some encouragement. Maybe there's some sort of dream or goal that you're after and you're unsure of her belief in you. It could be that, or this could be about how, she may want to touch on some moments in her past, or some of the darkest moments in her past were when she was brought the most beautiful gifts. We'll see how that ties in as we get into the rest of the cards. I want to start with the astrological die to get an overall feel of the energy for the reading. Okay, we have 11th house, Aries, and the North Node. So the 11th house is about our highest hopes and wishes, the rewards that we want to receive due to what we accomplish in the outside world, whether that be like an actual award or a sum of money or a big following or whatever it is. And the North Node is about getting out of our comfort zone and walking towards that thing that we're not super familiar with it. We haven't really experienced it, but we're kind of obsessed with the idea of it. Like there's an element of obsession there of like, this is what I want to dive into. I just have to. And Aries, you could be an Aries or your mom could, but you don't have to be. Perhaps Aries rules your 10th or 11th house. Aries is very much a sign that's about itself, what it wants to do. It is not taking into account what other people want from it or having to compromise. It's about what it wants to do and taking charge and going for it. It's a very bold, very fearless sort of energy. So I do feel like, regardless of some of the other things your mom may want to touch upon, encouragement for some sort of really big dream or aspiration is one of the things she wants to convey. So let's take a look at the tarot first. All right, we have the moon. This is Pisces energy. So you or mom could be Pisces or even a Cancer with the moon card. Wow, okay, we have the star card. This is Aquarius energy, and Aquarius rules the 11th house, which is on the, the die that we came up with. Then we have Knight of Pentacles. This is Earth energy, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And then we have Ace of Swords, so more air energy, so Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. Okay, all these things could be signs that you and your mom share. Okay, so this moon card, this is about a journey through the darkness, a kind of scary journey, a journey where maybe some secrets are uncovered. Typically there's some sort of psychological turbulence or pain, sometimes even trauma. In fact, with both of these cards, the star, I'll get to her story in a second. Even mental illness is here, okay? There's something dark that you've been through. It could have been your childhood in general was dark and scary. Or it could be a more recent experience. I'm hearing so many different messages from so many different moms coming through. I think it's different for each and every one of you. There could have been trauma in your childhood, trauma in your adulthood, mental illness at some point in your life, a death that was really painful, or the ending of a relationship. Like, I don't know, there's something very, very dark. But that darkness, your mom wants to point out, is what is getting you to the star, okay? So the star, let me touch on the story of this card. This woman was in the Tower card. The Tower card comes right before the star in the tarot deck. And the Tower card is like this explosion of a home. That it was her home, actually, that she lived in. But God knew that home wasn't meant for her. So he exploded this tower. She comes flying out of it. All of her possessions are gone. Everything from that life is gone. In fact, she doesn't even have clothes, okay? She's completely naked. But she, after this sort of traumatic experience, this peace comes over her, because she no longer has any baggage. She's no longer in this life that wasn't meant for her. And she can, for the first time in her life, see the North Star that she's supposed to be walking towards. She now knows her purpose and she can go towards it. Before, all those other people and things and, you know, everything about that old life was clouding her vision from her purpose. So your mom is really wanting to point out that this dark moment, this moon moment, or period in your life, regardless of how painful and awful it may have been, it was strategically there to help you get to your purpose. Just like the card says here, the Iris card. When it rains, look for rainbows, and when it's dark, look for stars. The moon, this is a dark journey because it's a journey that occurs at night. But you cannot see the stars at any other time except for the night. If the darkness isn't there, if the nighttime's not there, the stars aren't there either. These two cards go so well together with everything your mom's saying. This darkness gave you the opportunity to see the star, and that star that you're supposed to be heading towards. And I would look at your chart, look at your natal chart, see what sign your north node's in, what house it's in. Also take a look at your 10th house of career and your 11th house of your hopes, wishes, and desires, because that might give you some further direction. But yeah, she wants you to know that she understands how difficult this period was for you, but that it was strategic. And she's saying right now, don't waste that darkness. Don't waste that dark period. That dark period was brought to you so that you could look up and see that star you're supposed to head towards. So don't waste that darkness by staying in the darkness. She's wanting to help guide you towards this really big dream or soul purpose that you're meant to go towards. For some of you, it could involve some sort of element of like fame or politics, you know, or being an author. That, I guess that could be fame. It's something really big like that you would have never been inspired to follow if not for some things in your past, some really dark things, okay? So then that gets us to the Knight of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. Knight of Pentacles, this is a man who is very carefully planting seeds for the future. Knights in the tarot deck are all about action. All the other knights, though, they're rushing towards something, sometimes even a little bit too quickly, because when you rush into things, mistakes can happen. You're not really thinking that far ahead into the future. Knight of Pentacles is totally different. He moves very slowly, very carefully, very strategically. He's planting these seeds. He knows that he's not going to see the fruits of that labor for some time, but once those plants, you know, bloom and grow, they're going to produce fruit for, you know, an entire year or more, you know. So that's the energy that your mom is urging you to take on. Really think about, you know, 10, 20, 30 years into the future, where you want to be. And she's also saying that there's some things that need to be cut out of your life in order to do this. She's also wanting to acknowledge that her mental health wasn't always the best. That was something she really struggled with. And there could have even been some elements of addiction. It doesn't have to be addiction in drugs and alcohol. It could have been addictions in love and relationship. Maybe she had a lot of boyfriends, or addiction to even workaholic. I'm not sure what it was. You know, it'll be different for each and every one of you. But she is, first of all, she wants to apologize, because some of that mental illness and issues with kind of health and mental health, and it's in her family line, is what she's saying. It's in her kind of genetic code, and she hates to see you potentially having any struggles with that. But she's also pointing out, like, you're a lot stronger than me, a hell of a lot stronger than me. And I know that, but I just want to kind of apologize that you are kind of carrying a similar burden to what I had to carry. But I'm so proud of you for handling it better than I ever could. But so something related to mental illness and mental health and addiction, maybe depression, anxiety. There's some coping mechanisms that, I don't know, she's wanting you to cut those out. There's certain coping mechanisms that don't actually serve you and don't serve the long term. So she's coming through because she wants you to cut those things out. And she's also saying, I know that, this may sound really hypocritical, but, just remember, this is her higher self coming through. This isn't the same her, that you interact with or that you see or experience. This is her higher self. And she's wanting to, she's acknowledging that I know I'm telling you to stop doing the same things that I did. I get that. I understand that. But, who could know the ending to those sorts of things better than I? I had to suffer the ending of those things before I got to my star, and I don't want to see you do the same thing. So for some, this will only be for a select few of you. Mom has passed away, and passed away from something that she caused, something that she brought to herself. And she's wanting to apologize for that. But she's also needing to acknowledge, she wants to help you understand kind of the higher perspective of all of this. And she's saying, all of this kind of stuff is related to kind of karma and different things our soul wanted to experience. And in your case, it was very important that there was a period of trauma in your life, or a period of darkness that was kind of required for you, because there are big plans for you. And to get you to this star, these other sort of darker, heavier things had to happen, okay? So she's hoping that will not take away how apologetic she is. She's very apologetic. She doesn't want to take that away, because she is. She just wants you to know that your entire spiritual team, your ancestors, your grandparents, all of them are helping you achieve greatness, okay? You are actually surrounded by a lot more than just mom and mom's higher self and mom's energy. There's a lot of spirit guides and ancestors around you trying to help you get to this North Star. Okay, let's look at the interactive cards. Yeah, okay, so we have this card, which kind of, it's touching on health and the body, all right? And then look at this. There's a woman there, looks very depressed and isolated. So this is what I was touching on. Your mom struggled with these sort of mental health issues, and maybe even physical health issues due to the mental health aspect and whatever coping mechanisms she had. She wants to apologize for that, and she wants you to know that she will do everything she can, everything she possibly can, without interfering, with your free will, of course, to help you not end up on that same path, and really help you get to a place of true health and happiness, mentally, physically, emotionally, in any way that she can. So for those of you whose mom has passed on, look for signs, synchronicities. Look at, anything that could lead you to little clues and breadcrumbs towards improving your own mental health and physical health and healthy coping mechanisms and all that kind of thing. Now, if your mom is still here with you, then her higher self is just wanting to come through and say, do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. And she's also saying, like, you are meant for so much greater things than I was ever meant for in my lifetime. She's saying, like, it just wasn't a part of my purpose. But for you, your purpose is meant for something really great, really big. And that's why you are kind of always surrounded by different angels and spirit guides, and really trying to push you in this direction of your purpose. Okay, from the archetype deck, we have the Alchemist and the Father. Okay, so once again, a little bit different for each one of you, but I think for some of you that chose this pile, you didn't really have mom in your life. Mom was absent due to either addiction or mental health, or just her own kind of emotional things. Maybe it was a divorce where you ended up full-time with dad. Like, the father figure ended up being the really strong, the stronger force in your life, regardless if mom's here or mom's not here with you. Your father really shaped you. And she's also showing that was actually very important, okay? Relationship with dad is extremely important, because it strengthened your spirit in a way that you're meant to use in your future. Let me read the card. It says, a talent for creating and supporting life, a positive guiding light within a tribal unit. And you'll notice this father and son are together, and they're looking up at what? They're looking up at the stars. This is crazy, you guys, how much is tying into this reading. I mean, even in this card, we have the moon and the stars. Some of you are meant to be stars. So she's saying that, first of all, she's really grateful, and her higher self is extremely grateful and thankful to your father for his presence and his influence in your life. She's also saying that it was that divine masculine energy that you really needed. It shaped you. Divine masculine energy, it really pushes forward, it pioneers, it creates new things. It really looks at those stars and thinks, how can I get there, and maps out a plan and does it. Divine feminine energy is more internal. It's about receiving energy and dissecting and understanding the energy and kind of nurturing something and helping it grow. It's not so much of a conquering energy. So that masculine influence in your life, whether it was through a father or a grandfather or an uncle, whoever, was essential. Your mom's energy is very divine feminine, but it's a heavy, heavy divine feminine. It feels like she had a lot of kind of weight, emotional and spiritual weight, being kind of carried around with her at all times. And yeah, she just wants to acknowledge, she keeps saying, the main thing she's wanting you to know is that she's aware she's far from perfect and that she does have regrets. I don't know if she was ever able to say sorry to you, or if she's the type of person in her day-to-day life that would open up and apologize. She wants you to know from her higher self that she is aware and she is sorry. But she also wants to help get you excited about your future. So the alchemist here says transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. So a base motive or a base goal, that's something that seems very basic, maybe even seems like it's lacking, it doesn't seem special, right? But the alchemist is able to take that base motive that doesn't seem like much and manufacture gold from it, golden wisdom, something really great and fabulous and kind of out of this world. And that is what you are meant to do, and that's what you are working on doing. She keeps saying, oh, okay, this is another important message. Your mother is saying that she rejected the divine masculine within herself and within others. And because she was so out of balance, for her it was all divine feminine energy. And you can watch some videos on divine feminine energy. And it was it was a wounded divine feminine energy. She had no divine masculine energy in her because she rejected it. She's saying that had to do with some relationships with men through childhood and in her past that hurt her, but she rejected that. And then she fell into this very wounded, heavy, divine feminine energy, and it kind of overtook her. She is urging you not to do that. Really get in touch with your divine masculine energy. That's what she wants. That's what you need. Because she's saying that you are this alchemist that's going to be able to take both of those energies, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, balance them out within you, and kind of walk towards your superstardom, basically. This life purpose of yours that is meant to be pretty grand. Sorry, I'm listening to some things. Another thing I'm hearing is that at some point in your life, you will write like an autobiography about your life, probably way into the future. And she's kind of making a little joke, saying, make sure that you talk about the higher self version of me and not just the real life version of me when you write that autobiography or when you talk to people about your life. But she's kind of joking. The good thing is the higher version of herself, has a more simplistic way of looking at life and doesn't take things so heavy and seriously. And she says that she wishes you could see this version of her all the time, who she is at a soul level. So anyways, she's just like, yeah, my human self and my ego self has just got a lot to unpack and deal with, but she really has a great sense of humor about it at a soul level, that consciously she's not aware of it, but she's just saying she wishes you could see this version of her more often. All right, so from our moon cards, yes, look at this crescent moon. It says, have faith in your dreams. Woo! And then we have moon in Libra. So mom could have been a Libra. You could. Maybe you've got your moon in Libra. It says, avoid making serious decisions and instead focus on creating harmony within your relationships. Avoid making decisions and instead focus on creating harmony in your relationships. So Mom's pointing out the scales here to me, and this equality of divine masculine and divine feminine. She keeps saying, don't reject the divine masculine within yourself and others like I did. That was my biggest mistake in this life. I rejected it. I didn't realize that I needed a balance of both. And that includes in your relationship with your father as well. I'm not sure if you're close with your dad, or maybe there's been a strain recently or a disconnect, but your mom's higher self is coming through, really urging you to keep that relationship a priority, the relationship with dad. So yeah, and just work on balancing that divine masculine and divine feminine. This card right here, have faith in your dreams, that really sums up the whole reason why mom came through. There is like something really exciting, a really big dream, a really big life purpose that's a little bit bigger, and I hate to say more special than others, but that is how it's coming across. You're meant for something a little greater than just the everyday average person. And I do feel like there's an element of like fame to it, like a lot of people really knowing who you are because of this. So focus, tap into that divine masculine energy, your health as well, mental health and physical health. And start setting those goals for your dreams or manifesting those dreams. That's what mom really, really wants you to do. So she knows you're meant for it. She believes in you. And yeah, she really just wanted to come through and give you a heck of a lot of encouragement. So don't forget, before you head out, to leave me a comment. Let me know how this resonated, what your big goal and big dream is that you are aiming towards. And thank you so much for coming. I want to thank your mom so much for coming through for this reading, her higher self. Thank you. And I feel so humbled and honored that I was able to kind of be a vessel of communication between your higher self and your mom's higher self. So thank you so much. I love you, and I will see you at the next reading. Bye. Hi, Group 3, and welcome to your reading. Go ahead and have a seat and get comfy, and let's see what your mom wants to say to you. So you all chose the lovely white rose, just gorgeous, and it says, new start and wisdom. And the quote is, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So perhaps mom is wanting to give you some encouragement to maybe take some actions for yourself and be a little selfish over the next couple of years, or create some sort of new beginning for yourself. But we'll see how that ties in as we get into the rest of the cards. I do want to start with the astrological die, get an overall feel of the energy for your reading. Okay, we have Moon in the 12th house in Aquarius. Okay, interesting. So yeah, this is coming through strongly. 12th house is about endings and isolation in the subconscious. Aquarius is about emotional detachment, really looking at things objectively and being emotionally detached. And the moon represents our mother as well as our emotions. So I'm hearing very strongly your mom wants you to emotionally detach from something and establish some sort of ending in regards to something in your life. You all could have a moon in Aquarius or Pisces, or a moon in the 11th or 12th house. You don't have to, but it's a possibility. But yeah, a new start and wisdom. Your mom's really wanting you to focus on yourself. So maybe it's a bad marriage or a bad relationship you're in. Maybe you are pouring too much energy into toxic friendships or toxic family members. But she really, her higher self at least, regardless of what she's saying in her day-to-day life, her higher self wants you to be a little bit selfish and in something, okay? We'll get more details on that as we get into the cards. So let's start with the tarot. All right, we have the Chariot, which always makes me smile when I see it because I'm a Cancer ascendant. This is Cancer energy, so you or mom or someone involved in this ending could be a Cancer. Then we have the Nine of Cups, which is Jupiter and Pisces. Then we have the Hierophant. This is Taurus energy. The Knight of Cups, water energy again, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And then Page of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Yes, okay, so the Chariot is about moving forward, leaving the past behind and charging into the future, a wise and balanced individual at that. So your mom is really urging you to make this move. Maybe it has to do with moving far away, and maybe you've been hesitating this new start because you don't want to leave everything you know behind. And I don't know what mom's saying in her regular day-to-day life. Maybe she's one of the people that's like, no, don't go, stay. But her higher self is like, no, you need to detach from this. You need to make this big leap of faith and move forward into something new. And the Nine of Cups, this has to do with emotional fulfillment, really being proud. Your mom's higher self is saying, there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes that you aren't expressing to the world, that you're hiding, maybe on social media or wherever. I think even to her higher self is aware, though. Intuitively, she knows. So it's like this ending that needs to happen. Whether I do think it's a relationship, but it could be a job or whatever. It's like whenever you're in contact with other people, you don't really talk. There's a lot of, I don't know, things you're frustrated with or unhappy with, or negative incidents, okay, that you don't share with others when you talk about this thing, this job, this person, whatever it is. You hide it. You protect that thing or that person or maybe your own ego from that sort of maybe shame that you feel around it. With the Hierophant, this Taurus energy, this could have to do with marriage, because the Hierophant is the priest that kind of marries the couple. It could have to do with marriage. It could have to do with a religion, okay, maybe a new religion or like a cult that you've pulled yourself into, or it could have to do with something that you've committed to for the long term, for the long haul. So it could be a career choice that you've committed to. It's no longer satisfying, but you're like, well, I got the degree in it, so I've got to keep doing it. Something related to that. But your mom is just wanting to urge you to create an ending, so that way she and others, your spiritual team members, can bring in this new sort of beginning for you. She also wants to acknowledge, though, how loyal of a person you are, that your loyalty is, she's saying that's the number one word, that I would use to describe my kid is loyal AF. Not AF, she wouldn't say that, but extremely loyal, extremely dedicated, and she loves that about you, but she also really wants you to learn how to go for something new, do something, step out on that limb and not be so caught up in the kind of emotional attachment you create for everyone and everything around you, which is, one of your best qualities, but not to let it kind of weigh you down. I may get some other tarot cards here in a bit to clarify this Knight of Cups and this Page of Wands, but I want to see what the other cards have to say. Maybe that will reveal it to me. Knight of Cups often represents like a person you're in a relationship with. It's some sort of action towards your emotional fulfillment. And then Page of Wands often has to do with travel or with college and learning something new, okay? But let's look at the oracle cards, and I'll pull more tarot if I need to. All right, let's see. Okay, so from the interactive cards, we have this card first, and you'll notice this is a little girl who, it looks like her family is kind of picking on her and making fun of her, and she feels real ashamed and sad. And then we have the little boy whose parents looks like they've left the driveway and forgotten that he wasn't in the car. So abandonment. Okay, so your mom's higher self is wanting to acknowledge where this sort of loyalty within you comes from. Loyalty is good, but loyalty to a fault is negative. And your mom's saying that loyalty to a fault, the loyalty you have that's so strong that you'll even hurt yourself in order to remain there, has to do with these two things, this fear of abandonment, and both of these things connect back to your childhood, she's saying. This fear of abandonment. So now whenever you find someone or something that's like willing to stick and stay around, you will stay there even if you're unhappy with it. So fear of abandonment, and then a fear of inadequacy or shame within you. Like, I'm not good enough to, dream big or to go do something new. Like, I've got to stick with what I've got because I'm not good enough to go and get something else. And so your mom is saying, look, hon, this is all related to the things going on at home when you were young, you know, and those things shouldn't have happened, and it was awful, and I wish you had felt more secure, and I wish you had felt more special than you did. You know, maybe you all could have been one of many, many siblings, you know, or just like a crazy household, and you didn't really feel like you got any undivided attention from mom. Or that's kind of the images that she's giving me. And so she doesn't want you to, she wants you to recognize where this stems from, so that way you're able to see that, oh, this is a negative thing. This is a problem. It's attached to childhood, but not attached to my reality now. So I have to make decisions based on my reality now, and my reality now needs me to detach from this and walk away, okay? So yeah, it could have to do with a marriage, relationships, college degree, you know, a job that you're being mistreated at. You're not being treated right, is what your mom keeps saying. You're not being treated right. You deserve to be treated right, regardless of how your childhood made you feel. You know, you didn't feel treated right in childhood, but that doesn't make it right. So make it right by choosing people and things that treat you right now and into the future. So let's look at the archetype cards and see. Okay, so we have Messiah, and we have Addict. Okay, so for some of you, this Knight of Cups could be representing a substance that you are addicted to. And the reason that you take it is because it takes away those feelings of shame and that worry, shame and inadequacy, and that worry of abandonment, that fear of abandonment. When you have that particular substance, or addiction can even be love. Love can be an addiction, that high, that feeling from being in love. It can also be, you know, gambling, sex. It could be, you know, online activities, you know, who knows? It could be so much, but your mom's higher self is saying, you know, that's an addiction is what that is. That's not something that you should use to help clear away these feelings of shame and inadequacy. You need to clear those things away, because that's just putting a Band-Aid on it. You need to clear those things away by uprooting a lot of your life. Like, she's really encouraging, like, new everything, you know, a new location to live in and new friendships. And she really wants, what I'm hearing with the 12th house moon Aquarius, anything that you're emotionally attached to right now, she wants you to detach and basically reroot yourself, replant yourself. It goes so well with the quote on the card. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Therapy, counseling, those are ways to get to know yourself, your true self better. This Messiah card says, serving humanity with humility. And the Messiah, you know, if you read religious texts, the Messiah saves lost souls, saves the people that need it. And that's what your mom wants you to do for yourself. I would love to have more info on kind of what specifically this is that's going on. So comment below if you feel comfortable to. I would love to know. But yeah, your mom's higher self really came through today because she wants you to know you are not inadequate. You are perfectly whole. And she also wants you to know that she does know and think and believe that you are special. You're way, way more special than you give yourself credit for. And that's why these things that are in your life currently, she's not happy with. You know, if you really weren't special, you really weren't adequate, well, then the things that you're doing and the people that you're around, well, they would match that, right? So there'd be nothing more to say. But your mom really wants you to know, like, you are really special. You always were special to me. And I know, she's saying, like, I know our lifestyle and the things going on at home, you know, may have reflected otherwise, you know, or it was perceived as other than that. But she really wants you to know that she's sorry. She hates that you ever felt that way. She doesn't want you to feel that way. Her higher self truly loves you and knows how much you're worth. And that's why she brought you to this reading, just to tell you that, and just to hopefully inspire you to create this brand new life for yourself. Okay, let's look at what our moon cards have to say. Oh my gosh, this is so sweet. Okay, we have the blue moon. So I've been saying special over and over and over again because that's the word your mom keeps using. And have you heard the phrase, once in a blue moon? This or that only happens once in a blue moon, which is another way to say, like, Well, that's really special and unique. It doesn't happen all the time. It only happens once in a blue moon because it's special. You are your mother's blue moon. You are special. You're not like all the other full moons. You are a blue moon. And a blue moon really, a blue moon, for those of you who don't know, is when there's more than one full moon that happens in a month. So every month every month there's one full moon that occurs. But very rarely, every once in a while, once in a blue moon, there will be 2 full moons in the same month. And so the first full moon that month is just the standard full moon. There's always supposed to be one every month. The second full moon that occurs that month is called, therefore, a blue moon because it's special. It wasn't supposed to be there. So your mom wants you to know how special you are in her eyes, how special you are, not just in her eyes, just in general. You are special. You are unique. You are her blue moon. Okay. Oh, the blue moon card says, now is a powerful time to set long-term goals and sow seeds for the future, a brand new future. This is a rare opportunity, is what she's saying. She's like, your spiritual team, God, the universe is opening up a rare opportunity for you to really start fresh, to end everything and to start really, really fresh and to think far into the future. Think about the future. Okay, then we have full moon in Pisces. Now, Pisces rules the 12th house, which is where the die came up. And the 12th house is about addiction. It's about a lot of things, but one of the things it covers is addiction and mental illness and subconscious and isolation, imprisonment, enemies, all and endings, because it's the final house. So it makes sense. We have the full moon in Pisces card. This card says balance spirituality and practicality. Balance your spirituality with your practicality. Now, there's someone watching this video that I feel like they're in some sort of cult or cult-like group, but maybe you don't realize it's a cult, and or maybe you're treating it or handling it like a cult, and your mom is coming through strongly to let you know that she doesn't want you in that cult. So that's just for one of you, I think. It's not what you think it is what she's saying. That leader is not who you think they are. You're being deceived, and she wants you to detach from that cult. Okay, so balance spirituality and practicality. So that is kind of what's out of balance. When we use substances or whatever our addiction is, it's not the addiction part that's a spiritual experience, but the act itself, like smoking a joint or drinking spirits, they even call like wine, it's called spirits. It's a spiritual sort of experience because when we take those substances or do that thing we're addicted to, we detach from our ego and our body. That's why we enjoy it, because our ego carries all the pain, all the shame, all these horrible things we want to get away from. When we take the substance, we have this spiritual sort of experience where we are able to detach, okay? So with the balance, spirituality and practicality, the spiritual practice for you has gotten out of hand. The addiction or whatever this is, the relationship, it's gotten out of hand. And your mom just wants you to create a balance in your life. And she also just keeps wanting to apologize for the fact that she keeps saying, I wish so much that my child would have been able to have been born in the type of household, maybe as an only child or in a household where really all the attention was focused on them. That's what I wish so badly, but I know that's not possible because we came in this lifetime this particular way due to certain lessons and growth that we needed. So her higher self knows that's not possible, but that's really what she wishes for you. And she is sorry that she was spread so thin through your childhood and that she didn't get to really let you know how special you are. And she wants you to know that. And she wants you to treat yourself as a special person and take care of yourself and love yourself and demand more from others and all of that. So what a sweet, sweet message, you guys. I'd love to know more about your story down below in the comments if you'd be willing to share. And I know you guys are, I feel like a lot of you kind of already started on this 12th house of endings journey, but your mom is just coming in to give you that extra push, that extra bit of encouragement. I'm also wondering if a lot of you may be conflicted about this message, or perhaps not quite ready to hear it, or maybe feel like I don't have all the bits of the story, or mom doesn't. So if you're conflicted in any way, I would like you to comment down below so I can have a conversation with you down there and see if I can offer any help or help expand on the message, okay? But I love you all so much. I want to give a big thank you to your mom for coming through in today's reading, and I want to thank you for allowing me to kind of serve as a vessel of communication between you and your mom. I love you. I will be thinking of you, praying for you on this new journey, this new beginning of yours. And until then, I will see you next time. Love you. Hi Group 4, and welcome to your reading. Go ahead and have a seat, make yourself comfy. I apologize if you can hear the storm that's going on outside. It started up a little bit ago and it's quite loud. I'm right by a couple of double doors here, but hopefully we will be able to push through. I can't wait to see what your mother has to say to you. So let's get into this. Let's start with the flower you chose, which is the false indigo. And on the card, it says immersion and intuition. And the quote says, "When you reach the end of what you should know, you will be at the beginning of what you should sense." So it's about kind of growing an intuition about something. Some of you may have some form of like psychic ability or clairvoyance that comes naturally to you. I doubt that's really what your mom wants to touch on today, but who knows? We'll figure out how that card fits in with the reading as we go along. So let me go ahead and roll my astrological die, get an energy feel for the reading. Okay, we have Jupiter in Leo in the 5th house. So Leo actually is the traditional ruler of the 5th house. You or your mother may be Leos, but you don't have to be. And Leo is all about our inner child. It's about our spotlight and our shine and our creativity and, you know, like where we feel like our own little queen or our own little king. And the 5th house is about our children, our creations, like what we create and our creativity, and it's about our fun and our play. And then Jupiter is about expansion and learning and evolving and growing, and it's also about luck, like good luck and prosperity and optimism. So the reading today will kind of touch on, it should touch on kind of all of these different themes. So we will see as we go. Okay, I want to look at the tarot cards first. Wow, okay, talk about intuition. So we have the High Priestess. This is the card of the psychic and the clairvoyant, so it goes so perfect with the flower you all gravitated towards. This is moon energy, so Cancer energy as well. Then we have the Knight of Swords. This is air energy, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And then we have the Empress. This is Venus, so Taurus, Libra. The woman in this card is pregnant as well, so she often talks about pregnancy. Fits really well with the 5th house of children, pregnancy and creation. Okay, and then we have the Knight of Wands, and this is fire energy. So Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, which Leo is what we touched on here. All right, so I definitely feel that your mother is wanting to talk about something as it relates to children and pregnancy. Some sort of, it feels like a secret between the two of you. Something that either you've kept secret from your mom or she's kept secret from you. And it's related to pregnancy and children, to fatherhood as well. I'm getting energy from the father here. There's some sort of, okay, this is what I'm hearing. There's a secret that you have withheld from your mother and her higher self, and I think it's because, you know, she's acknowledging that you and her aren't like the most open with each other when it comes to certain things. Just like most, you know, everyone's got their boundaries, right? Her higher self is wanting to acknowledge that, at least at her higher self, she is aware of this information or this secret that's been withheld from her. And the reason she wants to talk about it is because she went through the exact same thing years ago and also kept it a secret. So she's for some reason wanting to liberate you in some way from some form of shame or maybe nervousness about. I feel like on some level, or at least your mom thinks that on some level you kind of view her as like not human, because she's acknowledging that she really puts on a front of kind of like perfectness and being perfect and never making a mistake, all that kind of thing. So, and because of that, she's saying that's why, my child is hesitant to open up to me about things. It's because she or he doesn't realize that, I do make mistakes and I do have a past, and that's my fault because I never opened up to them about my past. So there's some specific secret, something you view as a mistake. You carry a lot of shame within yourself for it. And your mom is wanting to let you know that she has made that exact same mistake or choice or decision. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but she's done the exact same thing. So she wants you to liberate yourself from this sense of shame that you carry about this, or this need that you feel to like keep it a secret or keep it under wraps. She doesn't want you, her higher self at least, doesn't want you to feel like you need to be perfect. And she's also aware that her need to be perfect, it stems from her own mother, the way that her mother parented her. And she's not happy feeling that she needs to be that way all the time. It doesn't make her feel happy. Inside, she feels very trapped. And she doesn't want her children to become that same way, even though she's acknowledging that it's her own fault, if that's the case. She doesn't want them to feel that same way. And she doesn't want this to pass down to future generations of children within the family. So like for your kids. And that's kind of why she brought you here. She wants to talk to you about your own motherhood and any future grandchildren of hers or current, if she has any. And she's urging me to tell you to show your children that you're human, so that we can end this unnecessary cycle of, needing to be perceived as perfect. Let your children know that you're human too. She's saying, I want to see you and your children to have, a very close and open relationship with one another, open communication, and, a lot of passion and fun between the two of you, instead of it being so authoritarian, I feel like there's some other messages that want to come out from these 4 cards, if none of that applies to you so far. So let's pull the other oracle cards and see if we can expand this message. Oh, how cute. Okay, we've got the little girl with the animals, and she's on her some sort of like crutches for her legs to help her to walk. Then we have this young boy who feels on top of the world. He's got a little white flower with him. And then we have this sick elderly woman. It looks like she might have, I don't know, cancer, or she's in the hospital. So there's 2 cards here that are touching upon health. But this is health of the body, not necessarily of the mind and of the spirit. The mind and the spirit feels good. It's actual, physical limitations on the body and health. And, the Empress, she has to do with the body, because this card is all about Venus, and pregnancy has a lot to do with the body. So there's some sort of health issue. It could be, and I think it's related somehow to this need to impose a sense of perfection upon oneself. Yeah, this is interesting. And you know how I mentioned that the mind feels sound, like I don't feel depression or anxiety or anything necessarily? It feels like the only reason why that's not an issue is because the body absorbs that depression and that anxiety. And so then that pain manifests through like a rash or, arthritis. It's like something that should be something mental and emotional, to help protect you or to protect your mom, becomes physical instead. Ooh, this is interesting. So it's like, it'd be like if you were diagnosed with arthritis and you're perfectly happy, great mood, never needed depression medication, for example, and now you have arthritis. And of course you would think, okay, this is just a hereditary thing. I have arthritis. Your mom's actually saying that the arthritis is related to, it's kind of related to depression and anxiety, but instead of the depression and the anxiety coming out in your mind and in your emotions, it manifests through arthritis or something actually tangibly physical. She says that is because of this need to be perfect within and maintain control of yourself, right? Because there is a stigmatizing view of mental illness, you know, that people somehow have a sense of choice or control in how they're acting. I hope this is making sense. Like, for example, some people could view a person with depression, and this would be completely wrong, but this is what your mom's wanting to say. They could look at someone with depression or with anxiety and say, well, gosh, they just need to get, you know, it's really sad they're going through that, but they just need to get a better grip on themselves. They just need to make the choice to, you know, get up every day and go do what they got to do. There's still a lot of people that think this way. So some people perceive it as, well, this person really has control. If they wanted to feel happy or if they wanted to feel peaceful, they could do this, that, or the other. And it has to do with, yeah, this need for control and this need to be perfect. So because you subconsciously feel this way as well, what happens is anytime you're dealing with depression or anxiety, your body will not accept it coming out through depression or through anxiousness, because then that would be like admitting that you don't have control over your own mind and your own emotions, and your subconscious just won't accept that. So it takes the depression and the anxiety and it manifests in a rash or in digestive issues or in, you know, arthritis, back pain. That's how it manifests. So your mom's wanting you to, yeah, deal with this because she's wanting to actually let you know that some of the physical things you've been going through have to do with depression and anxiety. And see, people who try to be perfect and maintain control over every aspect of their life, okay, they are okay with, and it's because of society. Being diagnosed with arthritis, well, that doesn't feel like you, it's not like, oh, people don't view it as, oh, wow, you have a lack of control over yourself and that's why you have arthritis. No, not at all. When it comes to bodily things, it's like, oh, genetics, you know, hereditary. With depression or anxiety, lots of people can view it as, well, if you just had more control over yourself, you wouldn't feel that way. And that's why your body and your subconscious allow these negative things to come out in these physical forms, okay? But your mom's wanting you to know that because she thinks this could be stopped, that this cycle could stop with you, and whatever sort of health issues, physical, digestive, whatever health issues you're having could actually be alleviated by figuring out how to be kinder to yourself and not expect so much of yourself. And she is acknowledging that it is her own fault. She wanted to show you how to be perfect because it was her own, you know, it was her own mistake. In her mind, if my daughter or son grows up to be perfect, they will feel less pain out in the world. You know, everyone will like them. They will succeed at everything. So she thought she was protecting you by raising you to be that way. You know, but her higher self realizes, and I think as your mom gets older, she's going to realize this consciously as well, that what she's done is she's harmed you. Actually, she's turned your own self into its own enemy. You know, you are now your own worst enemy because there's this version of you within that's demanding perfection when that's impossible to give. And there could even be issues related to food, you know, anorexia, bulimia, obesity, like food disorders can fall into this as well because they are a lot about control. So yeah, your mom wants you to truly love yourself. And she also wants you to know that the things she demanded of you, directly or even indirectly, she was doing to try to protect you. But she loves you exactly for who you authentically, truly are. And she doesn't actually expect you to be perfect. In her mind, if I demand perfection, I won't get perfection because that's impossible, but we'll get pretty close to it. So this will be the best way to push my child to succeed. That was her thinking. And she understands now that you interpreted that as you actually have to literally be perfect, which is impossible. So she feels like she's set you up for, self-hatred, hatred against yourself. Now, the intuition, when you reach the end of what you should know, you will be at the beginning of what you should sense. That quote has everything to do with some of the information she is revealing to you now about, your health and your emotions and how those two things are connected, along with some things you've been holding in. They could be like little things, or they may look like something little to me, but to you, it's a big deal. This secret that you've kept in because you are supposed to be perfect, in your eyes. So I think a conversation I don't think it has to be with your mom. It could be, though. I think that would be really good if you felt comfortable enough to do that. But opening up really with anybody and getting that off your chest and admitting to yourself that you're just human. We all are. And that's how we're supposed to be. That will relieve you of so much physical pain and irritation as well. Okay, let's look at the archetype cards. Wow, we have the healer. We have the seeker. And the fool, which the fool actually goes really, really well with this card. So I think a lot of you could be doctors, nurses, something in the medical field, because I do sense that there's a big interest in the body in general. I feel like a lot of your life is consumed with the body. So yeah, this healer card is making me think of like a doctor or some sort of medical professional or psychologist, psychiatrist, that kind of thing. That would be a great field for you to go into. And with the Jupiter card here, I feel like that mom is wanting you to make sure you go to college, get your degree, and use that degree once you get it. So a bachelor's or a master's. And I'm sensing from her that she at least thinks you would be really, really great in some sort of healing profession. So like I said, medical field, psychology, nursing, physical therapy, a nutritionist, or even like a spiritual healer. Yeah. And okay, so and seeker too, that's the same thing. She's really wanting you to take this sort of obsession that you have with perfection, and instead of using it to kind of attack yourself or choke yourself, to use it to graduate and go into a career field that you really, really love and are passionate about. Yeah. And health. She just keeps saying health. Even like an OBGYN or a doctor or like a midwife, these would all be great professions for you. Or like a tarot reader. That's kind of a healing profession as well. And with the Fool card, the Fool is all about there's a phrase. Oh, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss is so true, because kind of think of that moment in your life when your ignorance was torn away for the first time. Maybe it was the first time you saw like a homeless person on the side of the road. Maybe it was when you found out your parents were divorcing. Maybe it's when your grandpa died. Like each of us has a different story to our lives, but we all have a moment in particular that we remember as being the moment when our ignorance was ripped away. And so therefore our bliss was ripped away with it. Because before, when we were ignorant, we weren't caught up in the what ifs. We didn't even know what the what ifs could be. We were living life in the present moment. There was nothing scary to think about or worry about or stress about. And so that's the energy of the Fool. The Fool is in the present moment and keeps himself ignorant to, the scary things that aren't going to serve him to obsess over. And that's what your mom really wants you to do. And let me read this card as well. It says, fearlessly revealing emotion and helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. Your mom's saying, she's saying in my family, and what I taught, my own kids, was to we all take ourselves very seriously. None of us are able to laugh at ourselves, because if there's any mistake made, shame's the only thing associated with it. And what she wants for you is to be able to live life in bliss like the Fool does. Show your emotions fearlessly. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at the funny things in life. Just the everyday, because we can't have control over everything. And with Jupiter and Seeker, your mom's really wanting you to go to college and get a degree. The Seeker card says, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. A thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. And the healer card says, a passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, and the ability to help transform pain into healing. Your mom thinks you would be an amazing healer. I wonder if you all have Chiron in your first house or in your third house or in the sixth house. I could see that with this reading. But yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's look at our last two cards from Mom. The first one is a new moon that goes perfect with the Fool. It says the time is right for seeking new opportunities. That's crazy. We've got the seeker right here. The time is right for seeking new opportunities. And we've got two cards that represent the Fool. So yeah, there's something new that you're supposed to be headed towards. And for most of you, I feel like this has to do with education. So expansion of the mind, because Jupiter's all about expansion. It grows something. So expansion of the mind through higher education, or for others of you, this could be expansion of the body, either gaining weight because you're underweight, or pregnancy, expanding the body through pregnancy. But yeah, first you've got to get over this hurdle of needing to feel perfect. Once you let that go, you're not going to hesitate so much towards these sort of new opportunities and things. Right now, so much energy is being consumed on criticizing, yourself, that you do feel exhausted. You don't have energy, that you couldn't even think about, going out and moving, having a kid, putting on weight, going to college. No, I don't have the mental or physical energy. It's true, you don't, but you will once you lighten up on yourself. And on the die, with Leo and the fifth house, and I touched on this, but I just want to repeat it because it ties in so well. That's about our own inner child and where we feel like a queen and a king. The great thing about Leo, even though it can be a bit narcissistic, and I can say that because I'm a Leo sun, Leo knows how to love itself. Leo knows that it is its own beautiful light shining out in the universe. And it recognizes that everyone else is too, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it is proud and loves itself also. And that's, your mom is wanting you to take pride in yourself and recognize, that you are your own, regal queen or king, and to treat yourself that way and expand yourself. Okay. Another new moon card. This one is new moon in Capricorn, and it says your hard work is paying off. So perhaps some of you are already in college, enrolled in college, halfway through a pregnancy, something. But your mom just wants you to know that she's extremely proud of you. She really wants you to know that she doesn't actually expect you to be perfect, and she regrets indoctrinating you in that sort of thinking. And she really wants you to immerse yourself in study and research of the body, your health, the health of others, healing, intuition. Intuition is only grown through our emotion. They're kind of one and the same. So we can't really have a really great intuitive gut feeling unless we're in tune with and comfortable with our own emotions. And your mom's really wanting you to take yourself a little less seriously, allow your emotions to kind of flow. That's going to expand your intuition, give you a better kind of gut sense in order to make decisions from that gut feeling, and to, expand the mind, body, spirit, and soul. And she just wants you to know that she sees how hard you're working. If anything, she wants you to go a little easier on yourself, okay? All right, what a beautiful, beautiful reading. Thank you so much for coming. I want to thank your mom for coming through for this very special message, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Pick a Card reading. Love you. Hi, Group 5. Welcome to your reading. Go ahead and have a seat. Make yourself comfy. Let's see what your mom wants to talk to you about, what she has to say to you. So let's look at the flower you chose, first of all, which is the hydrangea. Is that how you say it? Hydrangea. Gorgeous flower. These are flowers that I see often used for centerpieces at weddings and things. I just love them. So the card says thankfulness and understanding. And the quote at the bottom says, before we can forgive one another, we have to understand one another. So relationship with mom might be a bit tense, okay? That was kind of the feeling I was getting from this pile as I was shuffling the cards, like a strictness from mom, a sternness from mom. Perhaps you have like a Capricorn moon or an Aquarius moon. But we'll see as we get into the cards, more details and expand upon that message. So let's start with the astrological die, get an overall energy feel for the reading. Okay, you guys, we literally have moon in Capricorn in the 4th house. You know how I mentioned that you might be a Capricorn or Aquarius moon? Well, there you go. If you're not a Capricorn or Aquarius moon, it could mean that mom is a Capricorn, Aquarius, sun, moon, or ascendant, because the moon represents how we perceive our mother and motherhood in general. And with moon in Capricorn in the 4th house is the home, the family unit. It's the house that mom rules, is the 4th house in our charts. And the moon goes in there as well. So with the moon and the 4th house both being in Capricorn, mom may have played a more fatherly role, or she may have just been a very strict person. I was getting a lot of imagery of like Asia, actually, as I was shuffling this pile, like the ethics of Asia and how bringing honor to the family is very important. There's a strictness and a toughness, and you are expected to excel and achieve. There's not a lot of value placed on the emotions. It's more about your inner toughness and your inner strength and loyalty and integrity. So some of you may have Asian ancestry, but you don't have to. I think Spirit often sends me messages to use for like symbols, so they can speak to me through metaphors and symbols. So yeah, I'll be interested what your mom has to say. Maybe her higher self is a bit softer than her outer self, but let's see. We'll start with the tarot. Okay, we have King of Wands, and that's fire energy, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And we have the Fool, beautiful. Then we have Queen of Cups, that is water energy, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And then we have 9 of Pentacles. All right. Okay, so, yes. Okay, so mom wants to talk about the beginning of everything, the beginning of the story, kind of before you came into being, because she's trying to get you into her mindset. What your mom really wants to, it's like what the card said, she wants to bring understanding to you, because she knows that she can't expect or ask for forgiveness from you if you don't understand first. So your father may be a fire sign. You might be an Aries, Leo, Sag, or have that somewhere important in his chart. Your mom, and it'll be a bit different for every one of you, but your mom sacrificed something in order to be with your dad. She could have been from another country, or he could have been from another country, where she left her family behind to come to him, or vice versa. Or it could have had something to do with like backgrounds, like maybe where your mom had to sacrifice her religion and the religion of her family to convert to your father's religion, and so that kind of separated her from her family. Or it could have been there's so many different ways to interpret this, because there's so many different ways that could occur. But to some extent, your mom sacrificed a lot to follow your father, basically. That's what I'm seeing with the Fool and the King of Wands, because first we have the Queen of Cups here, that's mom, and then her kind of leaving everything behind to follow after this King of Wands. So, and she did that because she was after, somehow she felt that the independence, her own independence, and the independence of her children, and not only the independence, but the financial stability and security of her children, was going to be better if she followed this fire sign, dad, okay? So emotionally, she sacrificed a lot in order to, she was thinking towards the future financial stability and security, an increased amount of independence, like more control over her own life is what she felt she would have through this sacrifice. I'm sure she loved him too, but she's wanting to touch on kind of her mindset, okay? So she's saying it was unfair to you because, you know, before you even came into being, she already had a lot of expectations for her children. You know, she expected that her children were going to value, you know, independence and money and success as much as she did. You know, she left a lot behind in order to follow after your father because of those same values. So she already expected her own children to have those exact same values as her. And her higher self is saying, you know, my human self can't quite wrap. She's saying I have a really hard time in my human form wrapping my head around the fact that, you know, my kids don't necessarily have the same values as me. In my human form, I literally can't understand that because I value certain things so much. I can't understand how anyone wouldn't value those things. But then there's also a level of contempt and resentment, like, how dare you not value this as much as me, because I did all of this just to get us here, just to get our family to this place. I did all of this. I went through all of that. So it's not an option for you to go against me or go against kind of what I want. It's this sacrifice. And the truth is, she's saying the sacrifices she made in order to basically create this dream for herself. And the dream was, you know, a stable family and successful children. That was her dream, truly. You know, some people dream for fame. Some people dream to travel the whole world. Like, your mom's dream really, really was to raise an incredible family. And that's how much it means to her. So it's very easy for her to feel like that dream is being threatened by any little thing, you know, that her kids or her husband, you know, does that, you know, slightly goes against that. It's very threatening. She's saying it triggers. She's saying, I'm aware that I get triggered very easily. And it all stems back from like what she wanted as a child, because she wanted independence. As a child, she wanted this. She wanted to be a woman that didn't need to rely on anybody, that was obsessed with her job. That's what this card is all about. A woman who is obsessed with her job. She loves it so much, and therefore she makes so much money, and it doesn't even feel like work, and she doesn't have to rely on anyone for anything, emotionally, financially, nothing. She's good. She's all on her own. When your mom was a little girl, that was her dream. But very quickly, you know, up to a certain age, she either realized that, oh, that's really difficult. It's difficult for a female to do that in society. That's not realistic. Or now I'm at this age and I'm understanding the finances and the class system of my own family. And so she realized, okay, that's not possible for me. And she didn't waste any time kind of whining about that or crying about that or sulking about that, because she's got such a tough little personality. Instead, she was like, okay, my new dream will be to raise my own children that will be able to go after this dream that I wanted so bad but I couldn't get. So she just, you know, gave birth to her children assuming that they were going to also want this. But she also is saying, like, of course, when you assume things and put that on your child, that just makes them want to rebel. She's like, but my human self doesn't care to understand that concept. My human self is just like, as long as I maintain enough authority and structure, you know, then even if they want to rebel, they won't be able to. That's kind of her strategy there. But she's wanting you to understand that she comes from a place of pain within her own inner child, you know, not being able to fulfill those dreams, and deep love for her children. She really, I mean, she loves you a lot, a lot. She let go of a lot of comforts, a lot of emotional comforts in order to follow this man wherever, you know, he went. Something was sacrificed, either her relationship with her family or where she was living, or it could have even been her dream. Maybe this dream of hers wasn't truly sacrificed, you know, nail in the coffin until she married dad, because of whatever dad did for a living. Maybe would have required her to be at home, or, you know, something major was sacrificed willingly, mind you, by her to do this. But it's easy for her. She says, I just want to say that I apologize because I realize it's easy for me to become resentful towards you or any of my kids, anytime I feel like they're going against me, because I feel like I've earned the right for them to obey, and I've earned the right for them to, not complain. And she also says, because I'm such a tough, stern person, I have a very hard time empathizing with my kids. She's saying, because I do feel that she has more than one, because she keeps saying kids. Whenever my kids complain about something that to me seems so minuscule and unimportant, like she really hates sulking, she hates it when people sulk. So when her kids do that, she's like, I have a very hard time empathizing. And that's because I never allowed myself to sulk. I never allowed myself to wallow in my emotions. So it almost triggers me when I see my own kids, my own flesh and blood doing that. It makes me want to say, like, no, you're not allowed to do that. So she's wanting to basically acknowledge, so far, we'll see what else she has to say in these, but she wants to acknowledge that, yes, she is very stern. There's a big backstory that comes with that. You're not required to understand. She's saying, you're not required to understand me, but I would love it if you did. And I would love it most if you understood that I do really, really love you. And I really did sacrifice a lot for you. And, and I know how that I can come across as kind of cold and detached. And I'm sorry for that. And I wish I could be something different for you. But for now, I just want you to understand. Okay, so a lot of love from Mom, for sure. Let's look at the interactive cards. Now, these just have images. There's not names. Okay, look, we've got the judge pointing the finger. That sounds like Mom, huh? Okay. We've got the girl kind of looking at the mirror and criticizing herself and her weight. And the Post-it, she has like all of these goals, like exercise for this long, have this many calories, just obsessing over her image and self-criticizing. And then we have this little boy carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders and looking exhausted. And he's too young to be attempting something like this. So yeah, mom is saying that I realized that from a very young age. She's saying, my angle in parenting, she's like, I've always believed, my human self, not my higher self, has believed that kind of judgment, harsh judgment and criticizing leads to improvement. And the more improved you are, the happier you are. Which she sees, her higher self can see that actually doesn't work that way. The harsher that she's been on you, kind of the more self-critical you become on yourself, but not in a way that leads to happiness or productivity, just a way that leads to, insecurity and shame. And also, with a Capricorn 4th house in a natal chart indicates a childhood where a lot of responsibility was placed on you at a young age. A little bit too young. And I see that not only with the die, but also with this image here. Mom saying that from a very young age, whether it was like chore lists and to-do lists or things that she just expected you to know without her having to explain it to you. I don't feel that there was like second or third chances under your roof. I mean, it almost feels like a military style type of childhood and parenting and home life, just extremely strict. And I do feel that another thing she's saying is that she's never felt that, your father was sufficient enough. Like she's saying, I acknowledge that I didn't really allow my husband or my kid's father to really take on that fatherly, authoritative, disciplined role with the kids, because the one that I would see him attempt, when he would attempt to do it, it wasn't up to my standards, because I like things just so and just my way. So she regrets that too. She does wish that she wouldn't have kind of pushed him to the side, because it made her have to step into that fathering sort of role, that authoritative role. But she's so, she naturally is so extreme with it. But she thought that was the best way. She really wants you to know, like, my intentions have truly, truly always been for your best. She says there's nothing more that I want to see than you being happy and successful and thriving. And these are all the ways in which I think I'm leading you to that. But my higher self knows that I'm doing all the wrong things. But so she just wants you to understand, really. Like your mom is actually coming to me in this reading, her higher self, appearing very meek, actually. Very kind of meek and soft spoken. And it's like she has this, her higher self has this feeling of, I know that I did it all wrong and I regret it. And a person can only feel that way if they truly, truly understand what they've done and if they care about the other person they've done it to. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes people do all the wrong things and they're like, yeah, it was wrong, but whatever. And that's because they don't really care about the person on the other end. Your mom, the way she's appearing to me, very quiet, very meek, very soft spoken, very kind of avoiding eye contact. She really feels sad and ashamed because she feels like in her day-to-day life, she's not really conveying to you how much she loves you and how emotionally attached she really is to you. I think that's what makes her the most sad. She has an unbelievable well of emotions when it comes to you and her attachment and love for you, that in her day-to-day life, she's just not, really good at expressing that. And she hates that. Her higher self hates that. But her higher self's kind of trapped in her human self. And, Okay, let's look at the archetype cards. Okay, we have the bully. And we have the vampire. It's so interesting because when I hold up these cards, I see your mom kind of like wince. She knows what cards are coming out because she pulled them. But when I flash it, she's like, she doesn't even want to look at it, She's really come to this reading to face up with, her own truth. And that's very brave of her. And I commend her for that. But okay, so the bully card. This says highlights your tendency to intimidate others and helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. And see, that's what her words have now her words to you have now internalized within you. So you now have your own little inner critic that likely has the voice of mom, that likely uses the same types of words and tactics that mom used with you, that inner bully. And yeah, and mom's really ashamed. For some of you, this bullying transcends, verbal bullying and actually goes into physical acts of violence. And regardless of kind of how this played out for you, mom really, really she's coming to me very weak and meek, soft-spoken, ashamed, just kind of like gray, kind of in the dark. I mean, she's very upset because very deep underneath this facade that she has in the outer world and with her ego is a very gentle person. It's just all masked behind all this. Okay, with the vampire card, it says, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. Ooh. Mom is actually saying to me that, and you don't have to actually do this. I just want to let you know what she's saying. Her higher self is so upset about kind of what her human self has done that she doesn't want you near her. And that's not because she doesn't love you. It's the opposite. She doesn't understand how to protect you from her own inner demons. And that upsets her deeply. And so she's even saying that because of this, she will often try and push you away from her. It's a subconscious cycle, okay? So subconsciously, she knows that she has these inner demons that are hurting her children. But she's not able to admit that, okay? So what happens is subconsciously, to try and protect her kids, this is going to sound so twisted, she will maybe attack you or bully you or be very cold and harsh to you because subconsciously she's thinking, okay, maybe if I'm this mean, my kid will leave and not be around me anymore. And then, okay, they'll be protected from me. It's like this subconscious cycle where, yeah, it's like she doesn't want you near her because you're so precious to her and she doesn't want to feel the guilt of having sabotaged you or sabotaged who you become, that subconsciously, internally, this isn't her human self that's aware of this. She does that to try and distance you from her emotionally or physically. Okay, let's look at the moon cards that we have. Okay, we have moon in Virgo. So your mom could be a Virgo or a Virgo south node or have a Virgo moon. Virgo is a very critical, nitpicky sign. You may also have your moon in Virgo because I see that you are quite the inner critic as well. Okay, this says issues surrounding health and exercise may come to the fore. Focus on your physical well-being. And yeah, what I'm seeing from the card and what I'm hearing from mom is she actually, she wants to communicate to you through prayer and in spirit, but not really in physical form, at least not at this time. She doesn't feel that her human self is really ready to know how to have a relationship with you. That doesn't mean you need to ignore her or never see her, but she really, and I hate even having to say that because who's to say if she's even right about this, but I'm just going to tell you how she's feeling. She really wants you to be able to focus on yourself. And she just is so worried about her kind of being this vampire of your energy and just draining you and, hurting you, hurting your feelings or upsetting you in some way. And so her higher self is like, I really think it'd be best if, we weren't around each other too much because I don't trust my human self not to keep hurting my baby. And I can't take that anymore. But yeah, that Virgo is very critical. It's also kind of the sign of like the martyr. If your mom has any Virgo in her chart, she could be that type to like self-martyr, but then expect everyone else to like appreciate all her sacrifices. And she was the martyr and she sacrificed everything. And so, bow down, that sort of energy. But okay, let's look at the second moon card. Oh my gosh, look at that. New moon in Virgo. We have 2 Virgo moon cards. Let me know down below if Virgo is in your chart or your mom's chart, like sun, moon, or rising, or south node. This says a time to give rather than take. New moon in Virgo. This is a message from your mom, okay? She wants you to give to yourself, and she doesn't want to be able to take anything else from you. She doesn't want to be able to take your energy from you, your happiness from you, your confidence from you. And this says a time, okay? So this is a period of time that she really, really wants you to just focus on yourself, keep some boundaries between you and her, and just know how much really deep down she loves you. And right now her higher self says she's working on everything she can do to get her human form to be able to express all this to you. All the stuff she's saying to you right now in this reading, she's working on trying to get her human form to align with that same energy and that same message. That's what she wants more than anything. But it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. And so for some reason, at least for this time, okay, until you start maybe noticing some changes or something, she really wants you to focus on loving yourself. Focus on loving yourself. Keep boundaries with her to some extent, and just know that really your mom is quite soft and gentle in the center of her soul. And life and whatever life's thrown at her and whatever sort of culture background she grew up with has altered all of that. But even now, even with her kind of difficult past, whatever hardened her, even through all of that, everything she does is still, I know this might be hard to believe, but it's still from a place of love for you, obsession for you. She actually doesn't have anything else in her life to really care about. She's saying like, I'm not that mom that, wrote a book or owns their own business or has a website or went to law school. I don't have any of that. All I have is my kids, and that everything I do comes back to my kids. I just choose all the wrong ways to do it. So she really loves you. She's proud of you. She wants you to carve your own path, okay? Her higher self doesn't want to keep imposing, these restrictions or her idea of what you should be or any of that. She knows, her higher self knows you don't need any of that, and you're going to carve your own path. And she also, something else she's saying is that the things that she hates and criticizes herself for, she projects those things out onto you. And her higher self just wants you to know that those sort of insults, she says that a lot of times it has to do with like the people that you choose to date, or like how old you want to be when you get married, or what you want to study, or how you spend your money, or how you take care of your home. All of these sorts of things are things that she dislikes about herself, and then she projects them onto you. Like, I hope that makes sense, okay? And she just wants you to know that that's not actually how she feels about you. That's how she feels about herself. And she's like, you are fantastic. My kid is fantastic and will be successful and will be independent in their own right. And she just knows that you're such a good, she's saying like, My kid is so intelligent, so smart, and so connected to her own spirit that she doesn't need me to guide her. She will know how to guide herself, and I don't want to be interfering in that process anymore for her. So she really trusts you to guide yourself on that path, even though in day-to-day life she doesn't, express it that way. So I hope this reading brought you some peace. So far, this was the pile that I got the most imagery from Mom, and I can see Mom so clearly. And I hope that you feel loved. That's what your mom wants you to feel after this reading, is loved and embraced. And yeah, she was very vulnerable. This was very honest. And I know it would have been kind of difficult for her to do. Even the way she's appearing to me, it almost seems kind of difficult for her to come and say all of this. But that's how much she loves you. She's sacrificing her own pride, to do that for you. So I want to thank your mom so much for coming to this reading and allowing me to give you this message. I want to thank you for being here and being willing to open up and listen to all the things that your mom has to say. Don't forget, before you head out, to leave me a comment down below. I would love to know how this resonated and in what way. And I like seeing everyone's stories and kind of understanding how that pile applies to that particular person. I will always comment back. I always do, usually quite quickly, because I just enjoy it. So thank you so much for coming, and I will see you at the next reading. Love you. Hi, Pile 6, and welcome to your reading. Go ahead and have a seat, get comfortable. I'm excited to see what message your mother's higher self has for you. So let's take a look at the flower that you picked. This is the gladiola. I love that name. Gladiola. It says on the card, strength of character and moral integrity. And the quote is from Helen Keller. It says, character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experiences of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved. You feel like someone who is meant to have like a PhD or a doctorate, I must say. We'll see how this flower kind of ties into the rest of the reading, though, as we go along. So I'm going to start with rolling the astrological die and get an overall energy feel for the reading. Okay, we have 10th house, career, soul's purpose. 10th house in Pisces with Saturn. So Saturn in the 10th in Pisces. So Saturn represents like an authority figure. And Pisces can often represent jails and asylums. And so that's the imagery I was getting initially, like the justice system and the court system and jails and asylums and the prison system and like justice and politics and forensic science and, something about upholding the law or upholding, the character and moral integrity of others through some sort of career. So Mom wants to talk to you about career, and which is ultimately, the 10th house is kind of our soul's purpose, or what we are meant to be accomplishing in the earthly realm during this lifetime. So very interesting. Now, Pisces is also a healing and a psychic sort of energy. So for some of you, this could be kind of in that direction. It also covers foreign places and addiction. So maybe, like a recovery clinic or an addiction counselor, or something with foreign lands and trade, like foreign trade, international trade, or international relations, like working for a consulate, for example, or I want to forget the names of the other groups, but you know how countries kind of have these sort of peaceful political stations, an ambassador. Okay, these are all coming to mind. Saturn has a very strong integrity. Saturn kind of keeps track of, karma, people's karma, and then rewards them for their good karma and disciplines them for their bad karma. And you have such a moral integrity about you, or at least that's what you are meant to be developing, that you will actually kind of become this disciplinary force, but an inspiring disciplinary force for lost people, for lost souls. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful message. We'll see. Let's take a look at the tarot and see what Mom wants to say about all this. All right, we have the Death card. This is Scorpio energy. So your midheaven could be in Scorpio because that's the 10th house of career, or mom or you could have a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising. We have the Three of Cups, celebration and friendship. We have the King of Swords. This is air energy. So Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. And then we have the Five of Swords, more air energy. And this Five of Swords is about a battle. It's about a win or lose type of situation. So even government work could be something for you as well. Army, military, you know, something with the government. Okay, your mom wants to, first of all, acknowledge that, okay, there's a few things she wants to say. You have a great masculine sort of energy about you. Not that you look masculine or you're perceived that way, but like the divine masculine is all about being able to kind of exert ourselves upon the world, carve changes and make progress and do these sort of tangible things to progress and move forward. It's also about, you know, setting boundaries and taking action and having discipline and all these sorts of things. And your mom is saying that of all the people she knows, you are, or at least her higher self is aware that you have the most moral integrity of anyone she knows. Your moral integrity radar, she's saying, is unlike any other. She can expect you to be blunt and to the point. These are very sort of masculine traits. Very blunt, very to the point, very say it like it is. And she knows more than, like she can trust you not to. She's like, no, my kid would never be the type to like cheat on anyone or have an affair, to steal, to cheat the system, you know, all these sorts of things. You're developing as you get older this sort of moral integrity within yourself that your mom is aware of and she recognizes, at least through her higher self. Now, maybe you didn't start out with this moral integrity. You know, everyone's got a past. We've all made mistakes, but she knows that that's what you're developing. And at a soul level, your soul is like complete integrity, complete moral, you know, values. And that's kind of what the card's touching on here. You know, it's saying that in order to develop that character and that moral integrity, there's a lot of trials and tribulations that have to be cleared out and experienced in order to get there. So, you know, with this Pisces guy as well, you may have a south node in Pisces. And if you do, I would take a look at, you know, look at the interpretations for that. She's also saying that she loves the type of friend you are. She's saying, I've always been a bit envious at her friendships. She has these amazing, or she or he, okay, has these amazing friendships that, you know, they've developed through junior high and high school. And I've always been so jealous of that. She's saying, like, okay, for example, if you're a girl, she's saying she's a girl's girl. And if you're a guy, he's a guy's guy. You know, you're that type of person. You don't feel like, threatened or like you need to one up, you know, people of the same sex as you, and just loves that about you. And with this Death card, there was more than one major ending, you know, in your life, a shock to your system and kind of a shock to your psyche, because that ties into the Gladiola card. It's all a part of kind of getting you to your 10th house, your career, your purpose, and strengthening your integrity. In fact, what I'm now seeing with this card is some of you, perhaps are meant to become like CIA agents or work for the FBI. That'd be another excellent field for you, or a detective, or a private investigator. And so she wants to acknowledge, okay, so in her day-to-day life, she's saying, I have a very hard time acknowledging the distinction and the difference in the way you have experienced certain trials and tribulations and the way I or siblings or other people in the family have experienced it. Your mom's saying, you know, we've all been through some of the exact same things as a family, but in my day-to-day life, I haven't acknowledged how differently it was perceived by you. You know, maybe you were at a younger age than your siblings when there was a death in the family or when parents separated, okay? And in her day-to-day life, she says, I never did a good enough job of acknowledging that, yes, it was more difficult for you to experience that than it was for the other kids. And she's saying that's due to my own exhaustion as a parent. It's so much easier to just treat everyone exactly the same and get on with things. And I regret that I kind of parented that way. I wish I would have treated each of you more individually, because she's saying my higher self knows that you are meant to experience these trials and tribulations and perceive them on a heavier, more difficult level than other people, either by, I don't know, where you were when it happened, what age you were when it happened. It was meant to be way more difficult than the other people in the family because it was a part of your kind of soul contracts of experiencing this and it somehow leading to career. So she wants you to know that at least at a level of her higher self, she's really proud of you and how you overcame those difficult experiences, even without it being acknowledged to you that it was difficult. She says, I really didn't give them quite enough attention when these heavier things would occur in our life. And she's saying it was just my own kind of laziness as a parent and exhaustion and, me kind of dealing with my own things. And I regret that. But she is truly amazed at how, even through these difficult experiences that you've had, through deaths in the family, divorce, separations, whatever it was, you have maintained your emotional security. She's telling me, like, with the things that my kid experienced, if I would have experienced those things, I would have completely detached from my emotions and become someone that was just all mental and no kind of emotions. She's like, in fact, I have kind of done that in my life. And she's so proud and amazed that your little soul went through these things and you are still a deep well of emotion. And she's saying she thinks that you are amazing at expressing that to others, sharing that with others. You're very empathetic. You love love. She's saying you're very affectionate, which she's saying she's not so much so that way, but you're very affectionate and you really enjoy connecting with people. And so she's just like, she just keeps going like this, like, just wow. How does someone, go through these sorts of things and not have their emotions kind of shut down a bit? But she's like, my kid doesn't do that, and it's beautiful. And she's envious of those relationships. So with the King of Swords and the Five of Swords, she's once again trying to point me towards career direction. All right. And it has something to do, you're supposed to be in some sort of position of authority or moral integrity for others. And I think I've already kind of named all the careers that could occur in. She also said that part of your training for this life purpose had to do with watching some disagreements and arguments going on within the family at a very young age, whether that was between mom and dad or between the siblings or aunts and uncles, like kind of the quarrels and the arguments that you weren't a part of or connected to, but you witnessed. That was all, your brain kind of downloaded and logged that and ate up all that information because it's going to help you in your career. So your mom's really, she has a very sweet, her higher self has a very sweet sort of spirit. And what she's showing me is like, okay, so before we reincarnate into our life, we set up like soul contracts. So like before you incarnate, you would say, okay, I want my soul to learn X, Y, or Z in this lifetime. So I'm going to experience, I'm going to experience a divorce, and I'm going to experience getting fired, and I'm going to experience having a friend betray me. And, you have all these sort of negative and positive things as well that you plan and organize to experience for the fact that it's going to get you to your purpose or your soul's going to learn something. So your mom is actually showing me your soul contract, the list of things that you are supposed to accomplish and grow from in this lifetime. And she's just saying, my baby is like acing this. My baby is acing this. She's got the contract and just showing. And she's like, I don't think that my kid realizes how successful from a spiritual standpoint, not from the earthly realm, because our definition of success is so different. From a spiritual standpoint, you are acing this lifetime. And she is incredibly proud of you. So she just wants you to know that. All right, let's take a look at our interactive cards. These don't have names, they're just images. Oh, how cute. We've got the little grandma with the cats, and she's baking something, baking cookies. Adorable. Then we've got the peaceful person meditating. Oh, how cute. Look. And then we've got mom and baby. Okay, this looks like your mom to me. That's you. Okay, first of all, this is going to sound random, but she wants you to know that you were actually reincarnated from a grandmother on her side of the family, a female on her side of the family. You were reincarnated from her. And she's saying that grandmother on that side of the family was quite successful in her own right, which was pretty rare for that time period, you know. So she's saying that, I don't know, she says she wants to tell you that because she thinks that maybe researching that grandmother or great grandmother and the success that she was able to achieve even at a time where it was difficult for women, researching that and knowing that that's you, that's your soul, she feels like that will really like boost your confidence and your belief in yourself as you charge forward into life. There's a cleansing going on too, I'm hearing. She's saying that there's a big cleansing going on in your soul and your life. I'm feeling a very peaceful energy from the card. So it's not a negative type of cleansing. It feels very peaceful. A lot of things from the past and from your subconscious as well are being washed away and cleared away for you. And that's strange. I don't know why. It must have something to do with your purpose, but she wants you to know that that is going on. And she's also pointing me towards showers. Showering is very therapeutic for you for some reason. I mean, I guess showers are relaxing, but yeah, showers or being near water or in water is very relaxing for you, and she just thinks that that will help you as you move forward. This right here, this is your mom's just wanting to show me the deep connection that she has with you. You and her are kindred spirits because you've reincarnated several times over together. I'm not sure if she knew this I feel like for a lot of you, your mom knew this grandmother that passed away before you came into being, and she was close with that grandmother. So there's a closeness once again here. And yeah, she adores you. And this feels like a really, really great positive relationship. You know, a lot of the other piles, there were some pretty difficult, heavy things going on, but the energy I'm feeling from you and your mom, it's just really peaceful and very beautiful, at least from her higher self. Okay, let's look at the archetype cards. Okay, we have Gambler and Victim. Okay, the Gambler card says willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. The Victim says prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. Okay, so what mom's telling me is this purpose of yours, you either haven't quite discovered it yet, or you do. No, it's more like you know that that's what you want to do, but you feel like either you don't believe you could be successful at it, or you don't feel like that's the epitome of success. She's saying that you're very caught up right now in what the world, it's almost like deep down you want to create a life that others are envious of. So instead of really going after a career that you truly would love and enjoy, your ego at least is convincing you to choose a career that others will be like, wow, you do what? You know, that sort of thing. And you're not taking a chance on yourself. So kind of marinate with the sort of topics and ideas that I brought up in regards to career, because that's really what you should be going for and doing, and following your own sort of intuition to get there instead of analyzing what other people, you know, think about that particular job or career, or how it's perceived, you know, like living life through social media, you know. Your mom doesn't want you to do that. And the Victim, so that makes sense with this Pisces, because I do feel you guys are Pisces South nodes, if not Pisces in 10th house. But Pisces South nodes can often fall into, they kind of make choices subconsciously that end up making them a victim to their circumstances or to life, because being a victim to something is more comfortable, because then you can blame someone else for kind of where you're at than actually choosing to do something and then failing at it or ending up in sort of a bad situation. Does that make sense? So your mom just wanting to acknowledge like, hey, you don't need to keep yourself safe by, you know, playing the victim card or pretending to be a victim. Like, you are the King of Swords, honey. You're too strong to fool me. And so in real life, she's saying in real day-to-day life, she can get irritated with you easily over certain things, because, and she's saying it's a misunderstanding, because you in your human form, not your higher self, has some insecurities about your capabilities and, you know, being proud of yourself, feeling that you're successful. You have a hard time with that. But your mom, who knows your soul and knows the strength and integrity and the character of this soul, And she knows this on an intuitive level. She knows that none of that's true. So whenever you're saying, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or look what they did to me, they didn't take my application, so I guess there's nothing I can do, or they didn't, that's kind of victimizing yourself. You truly believe that you are a victim to these things because you don't believe your own strength. It's like, she's like, my baby doesn't even know who she is. If she just knew who she was, there's no way she'd be thinking this way. So in her day-to-day self in real life, she still knows this innately. So when she sees you in these sort of situations, she does kind of think, she'll assume maybe like, no, there's no way. She's exaggerating, or she's lying, or she chose to end up there or do that. Is how she takes it. So she wants to apologize for that, first of all, because her higher self knows that, you just struggle with believing in yourself. It's hard for her because she knows who you are at a soul level. And if you knew who you were at a soul level, there's no way you would be questioning your worth at all or questioning your capabilities. And she's even saying like, look, do some picket cards on YouTube for past life readings, because she's like, if my I keep wanting to say daughter, if my kid kind of discovered some of their past lives, then they really wouldn't be questioning their worth or their capability. So Mom wants you to take a chance on yourself. Don't allow yourself to be victimized or put yourself in a victimizing situation, because she's like, it just simply doesn't match with your energy. She's literally laughing. She's like, that could work for other people. With some people, it matches their energy. But with you, it doesn't. That's never going to work. Like, I'm never going to buy it, is what she's saying. And so anyways, and by victim, I mean kind of like, or what she means is like, in your relationships, do you have a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend that treats you right? Or does the boss treat you right at work? Are they paying you what you're worth? Those sorts of situations, more lighthearted situations where you can kind of victimize yourself. I'm not talking about like abuse or anything like that. All right, so let's look at the moon cards your mom picked for you. I love it when the cards line up like this. Okay, we have a moon in, come on, Scorpio. And we've got the Scorpio card here. Beautiful. It says negative attitudes and fiery arguments are possible at this time. Channel your energies into positive physical activities like decorating or gardening. So yeah, you could be a Scorpio midheaven, sun, moon, or rising. And that's probably why your emotions have never really shut off, even due to the things you've gone through. Because Scorpio is it's a kind of masculine energy, but it's very emotional, very investigative, very intuitive. Like the emotions are just on all the time. And it's a great energy for investigating, for uncovering things, for digging into things and pouring, obsession and that sort of energy. And Scorpio is a powerful energy. It is a lot about power. And your mom, more than anything, wants you to embrace your power because you've got so much of it. Okay, let's look at this card. Yeah, look, we have the blue moon. It says, believe in the impossible. A blue moon is a rarity. Your mom chose this card because she wants to get it across to you that you are rare, you are special. You're not like other people. Therefore, you can't go, through life second guessing yourself and, not following your heart and being victimized. You're special. She's like, you're so special, hon, you don't even realize it. You are meant to kind of do the impossible and have that power, like an inner power. And she's saying that you are going to feel so much more at peace and comfortable with yourself when you embrace the fact that you are powerful, that you are a badass, that nothing gets in your way, that you were born to succeed, that success, integrity, and character is just ingrained in your soul through lifetimes and lifetimes of experience achieving and getting to the top. That's what mom really, really wants to get across to you. And I hope that, gives your confidence and your ego a bit of a boost, because that's the main reason your mom came through today. And, she just loves you so much, and she knows you're going to accomplish so much in this lifetime. And so she just wants you to unlock that confidence, that inner confidence, and that inner belief. Believe in the impossible. Okay, I want to thank your mom so much for coming to today's reading. Thank you. And, thank you for coming as well and allowing me to be a channel and to, give you a conversation between you and your mother's higher self. I really, really loved it. you and your mom's energy is real. It feels familiar. Okay, I do absolutely believe you guys have had lifetimes together. There's a familiarity here, and yeah, so I hope this will help you in moving forward with your mother and deepening that relationship and moving forward into your career. Let me know down below what sort of career interest you've had. Like, was it anything that I touched on? And I love you so much, and I will see you at the next reading. Hi, Pile 7, and welcome to your reading. I can't wait to see what your mom has in store for you and what she would like to say. So let's get into this. You chose the lovely Morning Glory. These were one of my mom's favorite flowers growing up, and I remember she had one in our backyard growing along the fence. And they only bloom in the morning time. So if you don't wake up early to watch them bloom, they're closed up by the time it's like they only bloom like right as the sun, I think, is coming over the horizon. So it's a special sight to see. You got to work for it. So the Morning Glory says affection and determination. The quote is by Alan Watts, and it says, "The morning glory, which blooms for a day, differs not at heart from the giant pine that lives for 1,000 years." So for some of you, I feel like for a lot of you, we'll see as the reading goes, you lost your mom at a young age, either to death or to mental illness or to addiction. There was, a short period where you had her in your arms and you felt that it was taken away from you early on. It could have even been through separation. Maybe you ended up in foster care or I don't know. Maybe you guys were pulled apart by distance, through the parents. But your mom is wanting you to know that even though it was a short amount of time or a shorter amount of time that you had together, God made sure that that amount of time, the amount of love, the amount of memories and affection and friendship was equal to, it was just more condensed, but it was equal to the amount of time other people get when they have a mom that's with them for an entire lifetime. And she says, so don't feel like you got gypped, because we got to experience every amount of affection, love, and friendship between the two of us that everyone else gets. It was just condensed, which of course makes it even more painful when it's lost, because it almost feels like a fantasy, the way that you and your mom perceived each other. But perhaps that's not for all of you. Perhaps not all of you have, lost your mom to death or something like that. And if that's the case, we'll just continue on and see how that card can tie in with some of the other cards in the reading. So let's start with the astrological die to get an overall energy feel for the reading. Yeah, okay, so we have Pluto in the 5th house in Aquarius. So Aquarius is about detachment, detaching from something. And Pluto kind of explodes what it comes into contact with. Pluto's job is kind of to destroy things so that it can make way for something new. It transforms through death. It's about death and rebirth. And the 5th house is about our children. So for those of you who have lost a mom, your mom has returned through your child, reincarnated as one of your children, or will be as one of your future children. And she wants you to know that. 5th house can also be about our creativity and our own inner child. So it could have been your own inner child that was kind of destroyed through this detachment and this transformation in you and your mom's relationship. And by transformation, I mean from, her having a relationship with her alive to now having a relationship with her now that she's passed. That's transformed the relationship. Or through depression or mental illness that perhaps took her away from you kind of mentally and emotionally. Or it could have even been through like Alzheimer's or something like that. So we'll see how the die and those themes kind of touch on the rest of the reading. All right, let's look at the tarot first. Okay, we have 2 of Swords, which is Moon in Libra. We have the Lovers. This is Gemini energy, so perhaps you or your mom or someone else involved that she wants to talk about is a Gemini. We have 3 of Wands. Wow. We have Judgment, which this is, Pluto energy here. And we have Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, there was a major transformation in you and your mom's relationship. A major transformation. For some of you, it could have been that you didn't have a mom during childhood and your early years because maybe she was caught up in addiction or in jail or something like that. But then once you became or maybe she had given you up for adoption, for example. And then once you got older, you reconnected and now the relationship is good now that you're older, but you still reflect on all the years that were lost due to whatever it was that took her from you. So that's the case for a lot of you as well. But yeah, the theme of you and your mom's relationship is death and rebirth and transformation. Your mom also plays a significant role in who you ended up marrying or who you are meant to marry. That's what I'm seeing in the Lover's card and the Two of Swords. So somehow, if things had been different, if your mom and you hadn't gone through this transformation from good to bad or bad to good, you wouldn't have been able to choose or find or come into contact with your ultimate life partner. So that plays a significant role here. So that's interesting. And okay, so with Three of Wands and Judgment and Queen of Pentacles, your mom's also saying that you have a really great business sense about you. You are a very stable person, and she's really, really proud of that stability. You have a nurturing sort of energy. It's kind of like you are naturally perceived by others as a mom, like you have motherly energy. That's how your friends and your family kind of perceive you. You're quite comforting in that way, and she loves that about you. And she also wants you to, she says that you would be great at owning your own business or running a business of some sort in which you're kind of the one in charge and managing all of it. I do think that, okay, there's a lot of choices and decisions coming up for you. That's why your mom brought you to this reading. There's a lot of choices and decisions coming up for you in regards to, feels like a lot of big choices are coming up all at once. It could be like, where are you going to go to college? What are you going to major in? Are you going to get engaged this year? Are you going to have kids this year? Where are you going to buy a house? Where are you going to apply to work? Like those sort of big life changes. That's what's coming up for you. And so your mom wanted to come in and kind of give you some encouragement and guidance in that direction. She's saying that make sure that as you're making these decisions and these choices, which both of these cards are about a choice, she's saying choose with your intuition. Go with your gut. Notice that this woman is blindfolded. She cannot see anything in front of her. She has to use her intuition and her mind, basically, to make these decisions. She says if you do that, you can't go wrong. And she's also saying that's exactly what I didn't do and should have done, you know, so many times in my life. So many times in my life, I should have done that. She is also saying that she's proud of the fact that her influence on you led you to being a type of person that's very good about making choices, very thoughtful about their choices. And she knows that it was her own mistakes that inspired that within you. But you're really, really business savvy, like street smart and very good. She's saying, my kid rarely makes a choice that they regret because they're so cautious and thoughtful about these sort of big decisions. She just wants to make sure that you're not using only thought when it comes to these more important life decisions coming up. She wants you to, use a little bit of your emotions as well. For those of you who have lost a mom to death, this Judgment card is telling me, because this is about death, these people are in the coffin and they're rising from the coffin. She doesn't want you to think of her as just being in that coffin. She wants you to know that she's around you all the time in spirit, and she's fully here to communicate with you at any time you please. And that may have been why she brought you to this reading, to convey to you that we can still communicate, we can still connect. Same if you've lost them to, mental illness as well. You can still connect on some level. And then once again, that Queen of Pentacles, so you may be meant to marry an Earth sign or a Gemini, okay? And your mom, if your mom has passed, she will be reincarnating through your kids, okay? That's just for those of you whose mom is no longer with you. But yeah, going into kind of business and making some big life changes, transforming things. which she says you are incredible at, and very much adjusted to transforming things because of what you experienced in your relationship with her. It could have even been something as simple as your mom for a long time had anger issues or postpartum depression for years, and there was just time lost. But she just keeps saying, don't worry, because whatever time you think was lost, it's being made up for, or it was made up for by condensing all that goodness into a shorter time period. And she's just saying, please let them know I love them, I love them, I love them. And yeah, she's also wanting to acknowledge that there were some choices that she made in the past that she regrets wholeheartedly. Especially those of you whose mom had given you up for adoption. She lives in regret with that. And she's pointing out that the reason she did that had to do with her not thinking with her emotions. Her just thinking with logic, thinking in her head only. And that's why she's coming in to say, these big decisions coming up, don't do what I did. Tap into your emotions as well, because that's what she didn't do. She said that was the only way she knew how to make decisions. Shove the emotions to the side, think with your logic. But that led her to a lot of regrets. But she knows and sees and that you are not making that same mistake. You're a great decision maker. So she loves that about you. She says you're a very, very trustworthy person. People entrust a lot to you, whether that be their secrets or their emotions, or they entrust a lot to you. You're very trustworthy. And she's showing me your home as well. She's really proud of the way you care for your home and you take care of things, even like heirlooms and antiques and things like that. You're very good at preserving and taking care of things, and she loves that about you. She really, really adores you. There is a lot of emotion though, because she's acknowledging kind of, the moments that were more difficult before or after this transformation. Okay, let's look at the interactive cards. Here we have the man in the woods who's daydreaming about fishing. Oh my goodness. And then we have the pig on top of all of the junk food. Let me take a look at this real quick. Oh, you've got the deer peeking through. Okay, so nature. Nature could be something that your mom wants you to connect with more. You know what? Let me get out my tarot cards, because I'm not getting a lot from those images, and I want to make sure I give you the right message. All right, we got a lot of heavy cards here when I went to clarify these two cards. So first we have Six of Swords, which is about kind of running away from a really negative situation and searching for peace. Then we got Four of Swords, which is about kind of isolating yourself to kind of heal and recuperate after something traumatizing, whether that be a surgery or a heartbreak, and just kind of, isolating yourself and going into a state of, introversion. Then we have Five of Swords, which is about feeling defeated in a battle against someone or something. And then we have Five of Pentacles, which is about kind of like feeling homeless, feeling like an outcast. So these are like all four of the cards that came out were really heavy. And so somehow this is related. It's almost like what your mom's saying is that there were some negative experiences in your life that you now cope with through food. Food has become like a comfort sort of thing to kind of deal with those emotions and those sort of experiences. Because even notice, even the man, he's dreaming about food. You've somehow related these negative things to food and comforting yourself through food. But your mom is wanting to point that out so that way you can recognize that and maybe deal with it and find some different ways to kind of deal with these darker experiences, maybe through therapy or counseling, or maybe you can find another coping method like journaling or dancing or something like that. She's saying that she's only bringing this up because it's something you've been bothered about for many years. She thinks that you look fine, okay? She thinks you're beautiful. She just knows what she's saying to me is this is something I know has been bugging her, and she hasn't really understood this connection. So she wanted to come in and help you out and say, look, this is why you feel this way about food. It's because it's how you are dealing and coping with these sort of anything negative that comes up in your life. So anyways, she's just wanting to help you out there with that. All right, let's look at the archetype cards. Ooh, we have the Queen. That's so you. So you. The King. Oh my gosh. Goes so well with the Lovers card. And then we have the angel. Okay, so remember how earlier I was saying that somehow your relationship with your mom, if it hadn't been exactly the way it was, you wouldn't have met your soulmate, or you wouldn't be able to meet your soulmate, the person you were meant to be with. Okay, so this is further confirmation with the Lovers card and then the Queen and the King. Your mother's really, really excited about this. Because she wants to give you something positive to focus on as far as, in the remembrance of your relationship with her. It may not seem connected, but it is. You would have been a different person if things would have been different and all of that. And this angel, once again, is, to me, talking about this sort of reincarnation through a child or child's energy between you and your spouse. If mom hasn't passed away, then it could be a reincarnation of someone else in your family on your mom's side. But let's read the cards and get their other meanings. So the angel says, helping those in need with no expectation of return. That is so your energy. Remember how she kept bringing up like how trustworthy and nurturing and motherly you are. That's your energy, and your mom loves that about you. It's like you're the type of person that people, they want to feel your embrace. It's so just comforting and loving. Okay, the King says, enlightened, benevolent leadership and benefiting those in your charge. And the Queen says, radiates the regal feminine and uses her benevolent authority to protect others. You all would be great for positions with children. That's this fifth house, that came up on the die. So like foster care, adoption, teaching, anything, or pediatrician, anything to do with children and kind of being in an authority position with them, you'd be so great at. And as a parent as well, like a fabulous, fabulous mother or father is what you will be or what you are. And your mom is just really proud of that about you, like how much you really care for people that don't have a lot of power. Some people abuse their power and authority over others or have no empathy for that. But you really, really, you can put yourself in someone else's shoes very easily, and your mom just loves that about you. You have a warm, warm energy. Okay, let's look at our last two cards. First, we have the full moon, and it says, take time to relax, recharge, and replenish your inner strength. And yeah, I think with this card that came out, because something I was hearing, because Queen of Pentacles is very connected to the earth and to nature, and even the Lovers card, these are two people, this is Adam and Eve. They live in the Garden of Eden. And so nature, for some reason, your mom's really wanting to call you out into nature, maybe to do some tent camping or take a cabin trip or a hiking trip, something like that. She feels like that would be a great sort of replacement for the comfort foods. And so there's something with a full moon. Full moons always indicate that something is coming to an end. You're reaching the end of a cycle. Everything has culminated, and so now it's time for some rest. So there's something, that a big phase in your life that's coming to an end, which, remember, she wanted to bring up all of these big decisions that are coming up. So there's a phase coming to an end so that a new one can begin, and your mom is like the best thing you could do to help clear your head so that way you can make these decisions with your intuition, with your gut, is to go on some sort of mini vacation or a mini trip in nature, not in the big city. Do something outside of the city is what she wants you to do for yourself. And she's saying you absolutely deserve it and you're going to love it. Okay, so the moon card, the second moon card we have is new moon in Leo, and it says confidence is the key to success. So the full moon is a phase of your life that's ending. Then you're going to take this period of rest, go on that mini vacation, and then your new moon is beginning. All these new changes and decisions. Leo rules the fifth house. And remember, the astrological die that came out was the fifth house. And Leo is all about where we get the spotlight, where we get the attention. It's all about, also, that's crazy, it's about our inner king and queen, where we feel regal. And so you are graduating to this new phase of life. It could have to do with becoming a parent, becoming a spouse for the first time, graduating, going back to college, getting like you're doing something it's supposed to be all about you. What makes you feel great about you? And your mom wants you to know that you deserve it because it's a more natural state for you to kind of think about others. That's what she's saying. That's what comes more naturally to you, kind of thinking about others and what others need and nurturing and caring. But she's saying right now is a time for you to really think about you and getting that attention and getting that spotlight. And she just wants you to know that you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. She says, receive every compliment that is thrown at you. Just receive it and soak it in because you deserve it. What a beautiful, beautiful reading. I would love if you would comment below and give me some more information on you and your mom's story. It sounds so interesting and so dynamic, so I would love to know. I want to thank your mom for coming to today's reading and allowing me to provide this message to you, and I want to thank you for sitting here and listening to what your mom has to say. I love doing this reading. So comment below, like I said, and I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will see you at the next reading, okay? Bye. Hi, pile number 8, and welcome to your reading. Go ahead and get yourself comfortable, and let's see what your mom wants to say to you. So here's the flower that you chose. It's the gloxinia. It's got a little butterfly on it. And I love what this card says. It's so sweet. So it says, love at first sight and proud spirit. And the quote is by William Shakespeare. And it says, when I saw you, I fell in love, and you smiled because you knew. So this is absolutely beautiful. For some of you, I think you were adopted, and this is your adopted mother's higher self coming through. It could also be your biological mom, kind of after giving birth to you, what she felt. For others of you, I think you could have been the firstborn child in the family, so you gave your mother her first title of motherhood. For others of you, you were, like, let's say your mom always wanted a son, for example, and she already had daughters, but you were the first son, or your mother always wanted daughters and she had sons, but you were the first daughter. Like, there's something very significant and special in how she felt when she caught eyes with you and met you. There was this deep connection. And what I'm feeling is like, or what I'm hearing from her is, it was like experiencing or becoming a mother for the first time and realizing the preciousness of motherhood. So we'll see how the card ties into the rest of the reading as we go. I want to start by rolling the astrological die, getting an overall feel for the energy. Okay, we have 9th house, Neptune, and Aries. So Neptune in Aries in the 9th house. So 9th house is typically the house of the third born child. So you could have been third born as well. 9th house is about expansion, spirituality, and religion. It's about foreign travels and like just traveling in general and just like truly experiencing life and conquering life. You know, that's what the 9th house is all about. Now, Aries is a masculine, fiery energy, and it's about the self and our ego and what we want and not what we have to compromise with others for or take into account for other people. Like, none of that silly stuff. It's about, what do I want to do? What do I want to have? Who do I want to be? Neptune here, Neptune isn't a planet that, Neptune does well in the 9th house. It doesn't really like Aries because Neptune is a very watery, elusive sort of energy. And it's slower moving, you know, and it's more about feeling, and it's about illusion and fantasy. A lot of actors and actresses have Neptune very prominently in their chart. Now, with Aries, Aries being the first sign of the zodiac and Neptune being this fantasy experience, I could see a lot of you being like the firstborn child or the first daughter or the first son, and this fantasy that your mom experienced when she became your mom. But we'll see how those themes tie into the reading as we go. Let's look at the tarot. Okay, we have 8 of Swords, 10 of Wands, 6 of Wands, and Ace of Wands. Wow. Okay, your mom is saying that you were truly her good luck charm. You brought optimism to her life. I mean, like I even had to separate these two cards. I've been putting all the cards in a line together, but no, this is separate. Before you, which I feel you were the one that made her a mother. But before you, she was caught up in this sort of energy. Her own, the Eight of Swords is about being kind of mentally trapped. You can get out of the entrapment, but you're kind of not. So it's a lot about being in denial. And then the Ten of Wands is about feeling just very weighed down by life and overburdened. I mean, these are difficult, depressing energies to be in. And you were her lucky charm. That's just what she keeps saying. She says, other moms dealt with postpartum depression. She's like, I dealt with postpartum elation because my kid gave me joy, gave me a spark that I never had before. And this card here, Six of Wands, it means victory. For some of you, perhaps your mom didn't think she was ever going to be able to become a mom. Maybe she had difficulty conceiving, or she just didn't think it was possible for her. And when you came, oh my gosh, she felt victorious. She felt just like she could do anything. And this Ace of Wands, it's about passion and excitement and creativity and just that zest for life. And I keep hearing what she keeps saying is, I didn't have much, but I had you. I know we didn't have a lot of money or a lot of this or a lot of that, but I had you, and that was all I needed. You are truly a fantasy for her, an obsession. I mean, she's coming through very strongly, and she is just absolutely in love, enraptured by you, and you brought her everything. You brought her happiness, and that's all she needed. It's all she wanted. I think, your mom's saying that she had kind of a difficult childhood of her own, and her inner child needed a lot of healing. There were a lot of painful experiences, and raising you, seeing herself through your eyes, healed her own inner child. She's saying, I don't know where, I'm scared to even think about where I would have ended up had you not come into my life. I don't know where I would be. I mean, she considers you like a savior almost. I hope she expresses this to you in her everyday life. I'm not sure if she does, but this is really how she feels. You brought her a lot of joy. Okay, let's look at the interactive cards. These are just pictures. There's no names. Okay, so we have the little teacher's pet here. Brought the teacher some flowers. Okay, here we have this sort of strict, demanding mom. This looks like the same boy as in the first one. Ooh, and then we have this very angry tribal man. Interesting. So, yeah, your mom grew up in a very dominating household. I feel in particular that her father had a lot of aggression and a lot of anger. Like, he was very kind of like barbaric in a lot of ways in the way that he expressed himself and dealt with his family. And then your mom's mom was very critical and harsh. There's just not a lot of loving energy. So your mom really, by the time she got into adulthood or even in her teenage years, was very depleted emotionally. But she was always very sweet, She's saying that she would try and get attention from other adults. She never got approval and attention from her parents. So she would seek out that attention and fulfillment through her teachers, her friends' parents, things like that. That's all she ever wanted. She just has a very sweet sort of energy. And so she wants to give you a little bit of a backstory on her life and what led her ultimately to you. Now, I'm curious, although I don't feel this, so let me know in the comments down below. I'm just trying to logically piece this together. I would think that typically someone who's raised in a very harsh, barbaric sort of household would naturally, when they become a parent, accidentally project that same energy onto their kids. And if your mom didn't do that, then wow, I mean, what a powerful person to transform herself in that way, because I'm not feeling that sort of energy from her. And now if she is projecting this sort of energy, this sort of harshness and this anger onto you in day-to-day life, her higher self is so far disconnected from that energy. Her higher self has nothing but obsession and love for you. But she is wanting to touch on some difficult things in her life, so maybe that is relevant in the day-to-day life. Let's look at the archetype cards. Okay, we have the Poet and the Virgin. Okay, the poet says, expresses soul insights in symbolic language. Beautiful. And the Virgin says, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. Both of these cards are talking about symbols. That's very interesting. Now, the Poet card is talking about, I mean, your way with words, your way with language, because your mother really loves that about you, because she grew up in a household where language was used to hurt and to abuse and to insult, you know. And once again, it may be different for each one of you. For some of you, your mom doesn't take that energy into her day-to-day. For others of you, that damage that was done during childhood does play out in her day-to-day, but her higher self is disconnected from that. But you have maybe perhaps broken that cycle, or you just have a gentle, your mom keeps talking about how you use words like poetry. You use words to create something beautiful with it, to compliment, to express love, to express joy. And she loves that about you. She thinks it's so beautiful because it's so different from the people she's experienced in the world. And you are like a walking, talking book of poetry. Even the sound of your voice, you all may have like Taurus in your chart, but the sound of your voice, the way you enunciate your words, the way you speak, perhaps you guys can sing really well or write really well. And she loves that about you. And this Virgin energy, this is what she's always tried to maintain for you, she's saying. In fact, that may be why she hasn't really opened up to you a lot about her childhood. I feel like those of you that came to this pile don't really know a lot about the backstory into your mom's childhood, because your mom's, you know, telling me here with this Virgin card, that's what I tried to do for my kid. I didn't want to expose my kid to the ugliness of the real world, to the harshness, to the scariness of the real world, because I had to experience that, and it really weighed me down and it trapped me mentally. So she feels like, you know, the type of mom that like can't watch a PG-13 movie until you're 13 and never cusses around you, and always made sure that you were like in a low crime sort of neighborhood, or do whatever you can to like keep your virginity to life about you. And she wants you to know why she's that way. She's just wanted to protect you and keep you in sort of like a fantasy, an illusion that the world's beautiful and everyone's beautiful and everything's sweet. And she's saying that that's because that's the fantasy that you kind of put her in when you were born. When you were born, she was all of a sudden in that fantasy that everything's warm and fuzzy and beautiful. And so she thought, oh my gosh, this feels so much better than what I grew up feeling. I'm gonna make sure my kid is in the same fantasy with me, and we'll just be together in our own little happy place. So yeah, she's very protective of your energy, and she never wanted you to mature or have to grow up too fast like she did. Okay, let's look at the moon cards. Okay, we have the owl, so that could be a totem animal or a spirit animal of yours. It says, a crisis will allow you to look into yourself and make an important revelation. I'm going to get some tarot for that. And then we have a new moon in Gemini, and it says communication is key. So you guys could have a moon in Gemini, or perhaps mom does. It's interesting with the communication is key, because I'm sensing that you all have a talent with words. I mean, that's what your mom's kind of expressing with words and language, and potentially music. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with career, because with Neptune here, you know, Neptune is often in celebrities' charts, performers' charts, because they're great at creating a fantasy and illusion through their words or the way they dress, you know, all of that. But let me see what this sort of crisis situation is about. Okay, so the cards that came out to help explain the moon cards were the Eight of Cups, the Seven of Swords, the Justice card, and the Four of Wands. Okay, so this is what I'm hearing from your mom's higher self. Your mom truly is so attached, so obsessed with you. But she wants to talk about some of the negative things that has done for you. And she wants to kind of sneak away from her human self, you know, and kind of go behind her human self's back to tell you some important things, even though she knows her human self would never say this and doesn't like it. So independence for you from your mom is difficult because she is just she wants to keep you this virgin to the world. So what your mom is saying is, I recognize that my love for her is sometimes a bit too overwhelming and that she has to grow up. And I know my higher self is aware that, like, yes, she's meant to grow up. She's meant to move out. She's meant to become independent from me. She's meant to not live with me every single day. She's meant to get married and create her own life. But her human self couldn't possibly say that to you. Her human self wants to keep you all to herself because you are truly all that she has. In her mind, it's just you. It's you and her. And so this crisis situation that the owl's talking about, and the communication is key, is the fact that in the near future, you're going to have to make some decisions that your mom's going to maybe try and go against or manipulate you into feeling sorry for her and doing what she wants you to do. Eventually, at some point in the future, for most of you, it's going to be related to the spouse that you choose. That maybe she won't want you to get married, or she doesn't like that particular spouse that you've chosen. Or if you're already married, it's going to be about having to maybe finally set some boundaries. Mom, you're not allowed to have a house key and just come over whenever you want. Me and my family need our alone time, like call and schedule. Or for others of you, this has to do with maybe going to a college that's far away from where your mom is. And, but you have one in mind you really want to go to, or going to certain events and things that your mom had tried to protect you from. Maybe you want to go clubbing, or maybe, it'll be different from each and every one of you. But this situation is important. And this owl is saying that the more you try and gain your independence, that's when you're really going to kind of see the negative way that your mom's immense love for you can play out. And that's going to shake you up for a bit, because you and your mom have kind of viewed each other as one another's angels, okay? And you're going to kind of go through a grieving process where you're going to actually be sad and feel like this was all an illusion. My mom's really just a horrible person who's selfish. And the truth is, the truth's always in the middle. Your mom really loves you, really, really loves you. Her higher self is aware that it is a bit too much. But really, I guess she's just wanting to bring this up to you so that you have the strength to do what you need to do, and that you don't convince yourself that your mom's really this bad person who's selfish or this or that, because she's not. She doesn't have anything but you. So keep moving forward, make those important life decisions. The more you continue trying to communicate with her through these changes, the easier it will be, the better it will be. But her higher self wants you to not harbor guilt for basically growing up and becoming an independent person. That's what you deserve. And her higher self knows that. That's what you deserve, to be independent, to be your own person, and to not feel like you have to take care of mom or be with mom 24/7. So don't be afraid to set those boundaries, to mature and evolve and become who you're meant to be, regardless of how mom feels about it. Okay, but this is truly, it's a beautiful, beautiful love your mom has for you. I could see how it could become overwhelming, though, as you're trying to detach and get your independence. But you'll be able to do it. And I don't want you to grieve too much, because it's not that you and your mom's relationship is lost. It's just going to transform. It's going to adapt and evolve and grow into something new. And your mom's going to be fine, and you're going to be fine, and the relationship is going to be fine. Okay? So I just want to leave you on that note. The most overwhelming loving energy came through from this pile, like more than any other. So just know that it's true love your mom has. I want to thank your mom for coming through in today's reading and allowing me to provide this message to you. And I want to thank you for clicking on this video and coming here and listening to what your mom has to say. And I hope you feel more loved after this reading and more encouraged in moving forward. Please leave a comment down below if you feel comfortable, and kind of give me some more details on this situation. I love having conversations with you down in the comments, and I will let you go here and see you next time. I love you so much.